Welcome to Capital One Bowl Mania.
You're watching the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, the site. NC State can cap its third 9-win season in 4 years. Kentucky making its 5th straight bowl appearance, a streak that started in the Gator Bowl back in 2016. And Ishroff alongside Tom Luganbill. Happy New Year. Larisha Harris will be with us in just a moment. In this turbulent, crazy 2020 season, it would have been easy for a lot of teams to say, you know what, no bowl game, we're done, we want to go home. Kentucky could have done that for a number of reasons, but they have a strong why in this game. They've got a couple, in fact. One is Chris Oates. Big reason that Kentucky is playing the junior linebacker was diagnosed with a serious medical condition in May. His number 22 jersey has been rotated amongst the team. And then you have John Schlarman, the beloved offensive line coach who lost a 2-year battle with cancer in November. They are playing for him and his legacy, which manifests itself in the big blue wall, Kentucky's offensive line, which is the biggest pillar in the foundation of this football team.
Well, it is. And listen, everybody's been through an awful lot over the last year. And I think the one thing that we all got to come away with is some perspective. And maybe nobody has more perspective right now than not only this Kentucky offensive line, but this Kentucky football team as a whole. You think you're sore. You don't want to practice. You don't want to go to the training room. You don't want to go to class. Oh, by the way, your offensive line coach is in between drills and in between periods vomiting in order to coach you. And that's the why for this football team. You see Drake Jackson, the leader, up front, and an offensive line that has plowed their way through opponents on the ground for Kentucky.
Yeah, they haven't had much of a passing game,
No.
so that big blue wall has led the way for this ground game.
Yeah, they are going to line up and they're going to pound you. And it is a really talented group in the backfield. Plenty of options you see right there. And you see Terry Wilson, the quarterback. Senior quarterback's going to get the start today. He's been productive on the ground, but it's been the passing game that's been the problem for Kentucky all year long.
Meanwhile, on NC State, they had their own adversity to deal with, more on the field. But there was a tipping point this season where it looked like an 8-9 win season was just a pipe dream.
There's no question. You know, you come off the quarterback shuffle for NC State. You come off with a big win versus Wake to open it. Then you take on Virginia Tech and you're Bailey Hockman, and you just don't play well. Well, Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator at NC State, says, hey, Bailey, I need you to come stand over here with me. We got to start Devin Leary. Devin Leary starts, and NC State gets hot. They do. But then on October 17th, Devin Leary goes down. So now you're looking at NC State, and you're saying, are they going to lose the wind out of their sail? And then Bailey Hockman starts at quarterback, finishes it 4-2, and really led a resurgence through leadership, through not pouting when he got pulled off the field. Very easily could have gone to the transfer portal. Didn't do so, got his opportunity. 8-win season, looking at 9 for the third time in 4 years for the Wolfpack.
With more on Bailey Hockman, we send it to Larisha Harris.
Well, guys, Bailey Hockman told me he always knew the type of player that he was. What was missing was that support system. In 4 years, he's had 5 different offenses, 6 different offensive coordinators. However, since connecting with offensive coordinator Tim Beck, he told me that, he's found an offensive flow. Coach Tim Beck has been the one to support him and have his back. It's because of Coach Beck that he now understands the offense in a totally different way.
Bailey Hockman might have to do a little more in this game because NC State is down 4 starters on defense, including its best D lineman, best linebacker, and best DB.
Yeah, and one of the things about Dave Doran and his staff that they are known for is player development. And they're going to have to develop some players to play in significant roles today. And it's not just Aleem McNeil. To me, the biggest loss is Peyton Wilson. He's the biggest difference maker on defense, maybe in the league, outside of a couple of guys might be playing at Clemson right now. But there's no question that there's some reserves for NC State. They're going to have to make some plays today.
Dave Doran, second all-time in wins at NC State. Was this his best coaching job with the Wolfpack?
To this date, I think so. And it goes back to last year, Anish. I mean, this is a team that was struggling with injuries and kind of limped into the offseason and then just had a resurgence of confidence. You look at Mark Stoops, I think this is the poster man for how you build a program. You look at the Kentucky administration, how they've allowed him to build and develop. Weren't expecting results yesterday, and as a result, 5 straight bowls.
77 degrees, a slight wind, a little precipitation, and the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl about to get underway. NC State to kick it off, and Kentucky to receive. Trenton Gill sends it away, and Kentucky will bring it out to the 25-yard line. Drake Jackson leads this offensive line. He will wear that number 65 in honor of his late O-line coach, John Schlarman.
I'm very excited to wear 65. I got to wear it earlier this year. Coach Schlarman's last game, he watched us play. I was wearing his jersey, and it was a tremendous honor. We have nothing but respect for Coach Schlarman and what he's done for us, and anybody who puts that number on so far has had a really good game this year, so I'm looking forward to having that as a good luck token with me. And we play for him every game. We have for the last 5 years that some of us have been here. He's been the number one person we've played for every week, and that hasn't changed even though he's gone.
Fly sweep to Josh Ali. You just got the sense from talking to the folks at Kentucky this week that O-line is going to play some inspired football this afternoon.
Yeah, and I think this entire team feeds off of the O-line. They feed off of the emotion of the season.
Paving the way for a first down run from A.J. Rose, the senior from Cleveland, ranks in the top 10 in rushing yards all time at Kentucky.
A little tempo here for the Kentucky offense. Get NC State on their heels a little bit early.
It is a run-heavy offense, and they keep it on the ground. Again to Rose. The quarterback is the senior, Terry Wilson. His story, much like Bailey Hockman's, committed to one school, went to another, junior college, Kentucky. He had adversity with an injury. He's won a lot of big games for Kentucky.
He has won a lot of big games, probably isn't appreciated to the level that he should be, and he's going to have to perform well today. I think Mark Stoops feels like he might need to see all 3 quarterbacks as they evaluate heading into the offseason.
On second down and 8, again to the ground, and that is Chris Rodriguez, who runs like an anvil on wheels.
101 straight carries from Rodriguez that have resulted in positive yardage. You talk about forward lean, a guy that's going to churn the legs. These backs for Kentucky, you got to understand, A.J. Rose is 215 pounds. Kavase Smoke, 201. Chris Rodriguez, 224. That's a lot of beef and power behind an offensive line that's veteran and big and physical.
First pass attempt, Wilson over the middle, incomplete, but a flag is down.
Offside. Defense, number 31. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
First down, Kentucky, and this is an offensive staff that went through changes after the regular season finale. OC Eddie Grant fired, quarterback coach Darren Hinshaw fired. Vince Marrow, the tight ends coach, will be calling the plays. They did hire Liam Cohen to be the OC, but he won't take part in this game. He comes over from the NFL's Rams. Wilson on the zone read keeper. And picks up 7, maybe 8. And this Kentucky ground game, as advertised early.
Yeah, and really they have no choice. I mean, the reality is Kentucky is averaging 124 yards passing a game. Not only is that last in the SEC, it's the worst output in the passing game of any Power 5 program in America, and it's the reason why Mark Stoops had to make a staff change. And he and Eddie Grant are so close, such close personal friends. Even, they text and they call each other. Coach Stoops told us this week they had a couple of bourbons together. So not your normal firing, but obviously a change in leadership needed to occur.
NC State may have jumped again. Flag is down, and that is Kavase Smoke, hands down the best name in college football.
It's not even close. There's no doubt. And this is the third back that we've seen, again, with forward lean and positive yardage with this offense.
Offside. Defense, number 0. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Listen, credit Terry
Official
Wilson. We've got Fortner,
for an injured offensive player,
who started today at right guard, 79, started today. We'll find out just how serious this injury is. Be back in Jacksonville in a moment.
We're watching the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. Luke Fortner starting at right guard today, went down before we went to break.
Hey, see number 79. He's just going to get rolled up, as we often see in the offensive line. You hate to see it. He was able to get off on his own accord. And as you put it, Austin Dotson's played a lot of football, number 61. He'll plug right in. And look at this unit. Senior, junior, sophomore. Kenneth Horsey, a great story as well, Anish.
Yeah, Horsey, one of 3 recipients of the Mayo Clinic Comeback Player of the Year award. He had open heart surgery before his freshman season.
This is a resilient, emotionally mature group, and as a result, I think a resilient, emotionally mature football team that Mark Stoops has on his hands.
Ali in motion, Wilson over the middle, wide open. He's got the tight end, Justin Rigg. Vince Marrow calling the plays today as the tight ends coach. He told us the tight ends will eat today.
Yeah, he was excited for his group. Listen, we're going to see a few different wrinkles. Try and get a little bit more creative with the offense and give that man right there, Terry Wilson, better opportunities to be more successful. This has been an offense, and we've talked about the run game, but virtually 0 explosives to speak of. They have not been able to get big chunk yardage, and it's really hurt them in terms of offensive balance.
On 2nd and 2, Wilson keeps it under duress, and no Northwest passage for Terry Wilson as he's driven out down to Larisha.
Ankle injury, and he is questionable to return.
So that's Luke Fortner, ankle injury, and as Larisha told you, questionable. A loss of 3 for Wilson. It sets up 3rd and 5, and from here, this could very well be 4-down territory for Kentucky. Rodriguez in the game as the tailback. Wilson on the slant and a first down catch. Isaiah Epps, just his 6th reception of the season.
Got the little swing route by the back out of the backfield. Opens up that window on the inside slant. And you see Epps, I like where that ball was placed. Low, down inside, no danger of the ball getting tipped. Give your target an opportunity to catch the football, move the chains. And now, Anish, you get right back to your bread and butter. NC State on defense, down significant starters. They know what's coming between the tackles.
Rose ran into a roadblock. Isaiah Moore, who is the heartbeat of that NC State defense, he's one of the guys that's going to have to step up with so many key players out.
Well, especially at the linebacker level, depleted. No Peyton Wilson, as we mentioned, with number 11. No Drake Thomas, 32. Isaiah Moore is the key cog in the middle. And then along that defensive front, you see number 2, Scott there. Number 0, Terrell Dawkins. Number 52, C.J. Clark. 2 players that have to play big within the trenches today against this Kentucky run game.
Noah Lee McNeil, who opted out, and he's preparing for the NFL draft. McNeil, one of the best run stoppers in the ACC. Here comes Ali. He's got the edge and out of bounds. A few yards shy of the marker. They get a lot of it back. It's 3rd down.
No, it's interesting. It's pound, 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 then get lateral. So now you're so concerned about the inside run game and the counter and the lead, and then they stretch you thin horizontally, get you running sideline to sideline. So far, Vince Marrow, the interim offensive coordinator, tight ends coach for Kentucky, has a nice little plan he's put together, and the passing attempts, Anish, have been simple, easy reads for quarterback Terry Wilson.
Yeah, technically that last play goes down as a pass, so Wilson
no
4
read.
for 4. On 3rd down, back to the ground. There is Rodriguez, always churning forward. He's going to be a little shy, and it brings up 4th down.
I think you go for it. You're in 4-down territory. Kentucky did not come into this game to kick field goals. And they know that they got some mismatches when they go on defense. So keep NC State on the sideline. Let's see what the Wildcats can do. Lean on the big boys right here.
That big blue wall, the offensive line for Kentucky. It's become the face of that program and the recent success during this 5-year run. Wildcat Rodriguez, second effort, and I think he got it.
Wow.
Coming into the game, he had 101 consecutive carries without a negative play. That's the guy you give it to in that spot.
It's the guy you give it to, and obviously our
Officials timeout for a measurement.
The first down line's not always 100% accurate on your screen there, but watch the second effort here in that lean. Churning the legs, again, 224 pounds. I like where the ball's at right there on that spot. I'm not so sure that they gave him as favorable of a spot as he probably earned.
Again, on first glance, I thought he had it all the way. They will measure.
Isaiah Moore does a nice job, and they get the conversion here. Credit that offensive line. Keep in mind, they motioned quarterback Terry Wilson out of the backfield. So NC State knows right off the bat this is going to be a direct snap inside zone. Isaiah Moore, number 1, the linebacker, did a nice job plugging the hole. He actually penetrated the gap, but could not stop the forward momentum of Rodriguez.
Red zone opportunity for Kentucky. From the 14, Wilson to the air. 1-6. Incomplete. It hits Jakeem Harris, the safety, in coverage against Josh Ali.
Correctly read that time by Terry Wilson. Just poor ball placement. Didn't have enough on the ball to either get it up and over the top or at least up high where you can get up for Ali. 49 catches on the year to at least get up and snag it out of the air. Terry Wilson's going to wish he had that one back.
Ali leading the team with those 49 catches. No one else on the team had more than 14 coming into the game. 3 receivers to the field. Rodriguez, the running back. And it's Chris Rodriguez breaking that initial tackle, muscles to the 10-yard line. And now third down. And this is where the NC State defense all season has been so good. Inside the 10-yard line, inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, they've been spectacular. And again, you're helped because you don't have as much real estate behind you. There's not as much green to have to defend. But not only have they not allowed touchdowns, they have got people off the field without points.
Kentucky needing the 4. Wilson has Ali, and he is devoured immediately by Harris. Fourth down.
Really nice open field tackle there. And, you know, just take a look at the play clock here. There's almost 6 minutes left to go in the first quarter. This has been a remarkable drive. I think at this point, though, you're too far off. Now you do have to take the points. You've got to kick this field goal here. And again, great open field tackle for NC State defensively. They're just happy to get off the field, Anish.
Matt Ruffalo for his career, 8 for 8 inside 40. And the field goal is good from 25. That big blue wall paving the way early on a 9-minute opening drive for Kentucky.
The TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, brought to you by TaxSlayer Gator Bowl Play and Win. Visit TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com to play. And St. Augustine Ponte Vedra. Enjoy family fun at Nights of Lights this holiday season.
NC State rides into this game on a 4-game win streak. Look at their last 3 years. 2017, loaded roster, a lot of NFL talent. They go 9-4. They won the Sun Bowl. 7 players drafted. 2018, 9-4 again. Played in the Gator Bowl, lost to Texas A&M. 4 players drafted. Last year a disaster. They struggled finding a quarterback.
Yep.
Injuries devastated this team. 4-8, and then the turnaround this year.
Yeah, the turnaround this year, and again, it revolves around the quarterback position. It really does, and the job that both Devin Leary and Bailey Hockman have done to sustain success. This is a roster, despite their opt-outs and their injuries that are not playing today, that is really talented for the future of NC State football.
A team to watch in 2021. Zonovan Knight, a dangerous return man, and they don't give him a chance. It goes out of bounds, and NC State will take over. Bailey Hockman, the quarterback. It's been an odyssey. First couple of games, he started, then was benched. You mentioned early, Devin Leary came in. But since he regained the starting job when Leary went down, a different quarterback.
He's a different quarterback. He's playing with confidence. His teammates believe in him. I think that's one thing that has helped carry this offense, because as we talked about in our open, you know, when Devin Leary went down, NC State was a really hot football team, and you wondered if they could sustain it and finishing off 4-2 to put themselves in this position today.
Hockman throws on first down, completes to the outside. It's Devin Carter. And that may be an area where NC State has a matchup advantage. Kentucky down 2 significant corners. Kelvin Joseph had opted out long ago.
Fumble forward and out of bounds. The ball will be replaced to the spot of the fumble. Second down.
No Kelvin Joseph, who had 4 interceptions to lead the SEC.
Correct.
Cedric Dort, who had started last year, was supposed to start today. He is out today, so those are 2 of your top 3 corners. Hockman back to the air. Checks down. He's got Ricky Person. And Person picks up a first down across the 40-yard line. Ricky Person healthy this year. He started every game after missing a ton of time his first 2 years.
Yeah, as far as the run game is concerned, NC State and Kentucky are very similar. Powerful in the offensive line and powerful running backs with multiple guys that can play.
Now that guy's a load to bring down. Zonovan Bam Knight, 5 straight games with a rushing TD.
NC State coming out throwing. You hit the check down to move the chains. They want to be an outside stretch zone team. They want to press the edges of both offensive tackles. That's kind of their bread and butter for offensive coordinator Tim Beck in this offense. And then come off play action. And to your point, Anish, take some of those one-on-one shots downfield with these big targets in Devin Carter and Emeka Emezie. 6'3", both of them 225 pounds.
Against a 4-man rush, Hockman with time. Downfield, intercepted. It's Brandon Eccles. And Eccles slides down into NC State territory. This is a ball-hawking defense that tied for the SEC lead with 13 interceptions.
19 turnovers coming into this game. Just a poor throw into zone coverage. We'll break it down when we come back. Kentucky on defense is in a quarter, half coverage. The corner at the bottom is responsible for a deep quarter. Safety in the middle is responsible for a deep quarter, but then the safety at the top is responsible for the half. Watch the corner right here. Squat and walk up. Bailey Hockman thinks he's playing man. Well, now all of a sudden he gets his eyes forward on the quarterback and drops back. And this is just a poor read, and Bailey Hockman not keeping an eye on the squat corner that's just keying the quarterback from the get-go. But that initial step up by the corner, by 26 and Brandon Eccles, gave Hockman a thought that maybe that guy's playing man. He's not going to be interfering with the corner route.
So after a 9-minute opening drive, Kentucky back at it, and Cavassier Smoke picking up a dozen and a first down. And good news for Kentucky, Luke Fortner
Officials
back into the game at left
for
guard.
an injured defensive player.
Meanwhile, NC State with a man down on the defensive side. It's Isaiah Moore, who is limping off the field, and already thin at linebacker without Peyton Wilson, the ACC's leading tackler. Drake Thomas is out as well.
Nice little run here from Cavassier Smoke. Well blocked at the point of attack on the counter play. And again, to your point,
play clock to 40.
NC State cannot afford to have a guy like Isaiah Moore, anybody within the middle of their defense, they're already thin. That's the area that they've got to keep healthy and on the field.
Smoke again, and he loses two. Down to LaRisha.
Well, guys, I talked to defensive coordinator Tony Gibson about Isaiah Moore, and he told me he's a quarterback of the defense. He's my comfort blanket. He controls the middle and gets everyone lined up. When Isaiah is not in, I get a little nervous.
Yeah, Larissa, you know, that time, number 30, Seth Williams, 33, Duffy, come in for Isaiah Moore and make the tackle for loss for this NC State defense. So reserves, again, playing a key role early on.
Williams and Duffy, both former walk-ons. How about Cavassier Smoke? He brings a little of that explosiveness. Home run hitter in that backfield.
Yeah, this is just a nice zone run into the boundary. You're pulling your H-back across to block the unblocked defensive end on the backside. Expect some play-action pass to come off of that action with Terry Wilson moving and leaving the pocket and that tight end becoming an option in the flat.
Kentucky struggled on third downs in its last 3 games. They'll keep it on the ground. Here's Smoke to the outside and turbines ahead to the 30-yard line. That tells you they were thinking 4 downs.
Yeah, there's no question. And I tell you the other thing, it does not matter for Kentucky right now how many bodies NC State has in the box. This isn't about counting numbers. This is about we're better than you. We've got a stable of running backs. Our strength is in the offensive line, and we're going to lean on you.
Can the big blue wall carve out a little space to move the chains and to pick up that 1 yard? 4th and 1 for Rodriguez, and that wildcat look. High snap, and Rodriguez, for the first time in more than 100 carries, tackled for a loss. NC State's defense makes the stand. The former walk-on Isaac Duffy led the charge.
And that's when the numbers do play a role. All right, and NC State, they're playing all run here. They know you're not going to get any pass attempt from 24 out of the backfield on the direct snap. Really nice job with gap integrity and penetrating into the backfield by, again, a depleted NC State unit that is playing with a lot of pride right now. And again, player development, a staple of Dave Doran and this staff, and you're seeing these kids come along playing well early.
Jalen Scott got in there as well, getting some more time at linebacker with all the injuries. And NC State takes over now from its own 31, so no harm, no foul off the interception. Hockman rolling out, dangerous throw, and it's brought in by Emeka Emezi. 32 straight games with a reception for the senior from Waxhaw, North Carolina.
Yeah, it's coming off the play action. We're going to boot out left-handed quarterback, going to his left, and whew, that's why they call it a game of inches, Anish.
15 yards, a first down, empty look now from the 46. Hockman floats it downfield, incomplete. Good coverage by Yusuf Corker, the safety.
It's good coverage, but it's very poor ball placement by Bailey Hockman. This is twice now we've seen this. If he throws this up and high to the sideline, 86, you got a chance to go up and take that ball away from Yusuf Corker.
Are you surprised early, the play selection for NC State, pass heavy rather than going with the run?
Absolutely I am. I've really felt that this would be more of a look. The diamond formation that we would see, there's that wide zone.
Well, maybe that's why Jordan Houston is tackled after a minimal gain. Quinton Bohanna, who anchors that defensive front with the stop.
Quinton Bohanna, one of the guys that when you choose to not opt out, you choose to play, and you get another opportunity to add value, he's a guy that's adding value to potential draft stock by playing in a game like this. Another game, another 70 snaps or so on tape.
6'4", almost 360. On 3rd and 9, Hockman engulfed. Jamin Davis got in there, so did Josh Paschal.
Josh Paschal, another great story of resiliency. A cancer survivor a little over 2 years ago. discovered melanoma on the bottom of his foot, thought it was a blister, and just kept going to the trainers. The trainers finally said, hey, listen, this is something serious. We've got to look into this. Battles back from it. It's a former roommate, Josh Allen.
Trenton Gill to punt it away. Here's Ali averaging 12 yards a return, not much there. And Kentucky will take over deep in its own territory. A 51-yard punt from Gill. Wildcats back on offense. They've had the ball for almost the entirety of this opening quarter.
Well, they have. And listen, you look at that record next to Kentucky's name, 4-6. 4 of their 6 losses were to teams that finished the regular season in the top 10, all right? They virtually had 0 passing game to speak of. And they've probably had a couple opportunities, to be honest with you, to be 6-4. So the future is bright. There's a reason why they were favored coming into this game. There's a lot of positive components with Kentucky.
Coach is telling us, hey, if Kentucky doesn't play a 10-game SEC-only schedule, this is not a 4-6 team. A.J. Rose stumbles forward for a couple of yards. Take a look at time of possession. Kentucky had the ball for 11 and a half minutes in stanza number 1. An interception and a field goal. And the Wildcats lead 3-0. We're watching the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. This was the first bowl game to be nationally televised back in 1955 when Vandy upset Auburn on CBS. Kentucky leading NC State 3-0. The Wolfpack just haven't had the ball.
Well, they haven't had the ball, and they haven't had the ball because of this offensive line. The big blue wall for Kentucky, a veteran group, physical, nasty. They are the personality of what Kentucky football is all about. Blue collar, tough, wear you down, pride.
It's what John Schlarman was all about, the late offensive line coach. There's A.J. Rose bounding off tacklers and pinballs his way to the 25.
And we're seeing this run game. And I want to go back to Eddie Grant because I think Eddie Grant's one of the finer football coaches coaching in college football. When he was hired by Kentucky, Darren Henshaw came in, they accomplished an awful lot, okay? This wasn't your normal firing with animosity and all of those sorts of things. In fact, I can make the argument that last year, Anish, when Terry Wilson went down, they put Lynn Bowden at quarterback. Should have been the Broyles Award winner. The entire staff should have won the Broyles Award as a coaching staff, and things just didn't work. It kind of unraveled a little bit, but the new offensive coordinator is going to be Liam Cohen, as we mentioned, coming over from the Los Angeles Rams. Eric Wolford coming into the offensive line.
Former BC coach Jeff Jagosinski has been helping out with the offensive line the last couple of months. As Josh Ali picks up a couple, it's 3rd down. You think about what John Schlarman meant to this team, and especially up front. 45 years old. His nickname was the Great American. And if you've seen the Gene Wojciechowski piece that's run on game day, if
you haven't, you got to.
You have to, and have Kleenex next to you. If you've read the Kyle Tucker story on The Athletic, it speaks to what this guy means to that unit and to this program. And people like that, they don't just go away, they live forever. On 3rd and 3, we get a flag.
Prior to the snap, Kentucky calls their first timeout of the half, 30-second timeout.
It's a timeout by Kentucky on 3rd and 3. We're down to the last 2 bowl games, Lugs. 4 Eastern, number 25 Oregon taking on number 10 Iowa State in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. Then Texas A&M and UNC in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Iowa State, Oregon, clash of styles. If you haven't seen Breece Hall, maybe the best running back in the country.
Yeah, Breece is fantastic. And that Iowa State, that football team's licking their wounds a little bit, coming off of Big 12 championship game. Our pal Dave Pasch calling that one. And then later on, I think with all the opt-outs that North Carolina has had, it's going to be interesting to see the type of established depth that Mack Brown is continuing to try to build at North Carolina against a team in Texas A&M that truly felt like they should have been the number 4 seed in the college football.
That's the best part of the day after
yeah.
the semifinals, the revisionist history.
Oh, yeah.
Flag down, Wilson taking a shot into coverage and nearly caught. Epps could not hold on. Duffy got in there to knock it away.
Offside.
A penalty is...
Defense, number 45. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
So Davin Vann called for the offsides. That's 3 now on NC State.
Credit the hard count. And you see Epps down there, 81, almost secures this ball over the outside shoulder.
Did that play call surprise you? 3rd and 3, Kentucky taking a shot?
It did a little bit, but I think it might have been a call just because it would be so against type for this team that maybe they thought they'd have a one-on-one, some safeties lurking on the inside, and maybe get a shot, but nobody biting in the back end for NC State.
Second time a penalty is extended to Kentucky drive. Wilson backpedaling, throws off his back foot, and toward the NC State sideline in the direction of the tight end, Keaton Upshaw. Terry touchdown, 16 wins as a starter, and he's done something only 2 quarterbacks in Kentucky history have, and that is win at Florida and win at Tennessee.
Yep.
Derek Ramsey, the only other one to do that. Jared Lorenzen never did it. Tim Couch never did it. Andre Woodson never did it.
Yeah, he's really been, when he's been healthy, he's been one of the big reasons why they've become competitive and more dynamic on offense.
Won a Citrus Bowl too, beating Penn State a couple of years ago. Rodriguez running into that NC State front. Now, we mentioned the missing pieces a couple of times, but it's not just one guy gone in a vacuum. You lose Aleem McNeil, who could eat up blockers. That used to free up Peyton Wilson to make a million tackles.
Yeah.
Tanner Ingle was a guy you could blitz with, who could play the run.
The guy in front affects the guy behind him, which then affects the guy behind him. And it's down the middle of your defense. It's the heart and soul of your defense, particularly when you're a 3-man front team. Well, Aleem McNeil is a 320-pounder that could occupy people.
Third down and 8, a 3-man rush by the pack. Into traffic, and that appears to be intercepted. And is picked off by NC State.
The ruling on the field is an interception by the defense. First down, NC State.
The second of the season for Tyler Baker Williams.
An ill-advised throw here, Anish, from Terry Wilson. And it's kind of just a reflection of what Kentucky has been in the passing game all year long. Nothing to complement this run game. Intended for Hayes, Akeem Hayes right there.
Let's take one more look. Is this a catch? The ball is allowed.
The field is an interception. The previous play is under further review.
The ball is allowed to hit the ground as long as when it hits the ground, the receiver has possession.
Correct. Take a closer look at this one.
Well, the one angle seemed maybe the ball might have been coming out at the end. Replay will review. We'll step aside.
Alabama, Ohio State. The national championship game, Monday, January 11th on ESPN.
Anish Shroff, Tom Luganbill, Larisha Harris. Replay overturned this interception, rightly so. Watch the ball hit the ground. Baker Williams does not have possession when it does.
Yeah, this is a good call by the officiating crew upstairs. Doesn't take away that ill-advised throw from Kentucky. Got to come up with some production through the air.
Max Duffy in trouble, just got rid of it. He was the Ray Guy Award winner last year that goes to the best punter. And Thayer Thomas makes the fair catch. Near disaster twice averted for Kentucky.
Big time, and a heady play, and then to get the ball off your foot, that went from disaster to now less of a disaster to a heck of a play in the kicking game. And again, look at the field position flip by Duffy making that play and putting NC State on a long field offensively.
If you're Kentucky, you have to know where 31 in white is on punts. Vi Jones, 3 blocked kicks this year, 2 on punts. NC State keeps it on the ground. There is Zonovan Bam Knight. He is averaging almost 6 yards a carry this season. 3rd team all-conference running back. And when you look at who's coming back next year, he is going to be the top returning back in the ACC going into 2021.
With an offensive line that is really talented and a left tackle in number 79, Ekwonu, who's going to be a future star. So key cogs coming back for the Wolfpack 2021.
There's Knight one more time. And it sets up 3rd and 2, and now NC State is going back to its bread and butter a little bit.
Which is wise, because they tried to come out and throw it around a little bit, and Bailey Hockman did not deliver in those first couple of series. There's Ekwonu, 79 at the left tackle spot, just a sophomore. He is a mauler, an exciting young prospect. But now, again, let's get back. Kentucky and NC State are not too dissimilar from one another. They want to run it, and they want the offensive line to lead the way. Let's see what they come up with here out of the diamond formation.
The strength of NC State's line, the left side. Hockman rolls that way. And able to complete for a first down. Trent Penix hasn't been used a whole lot this year. Just his 2nd catch, only has 1 carry.
Tim Beck loves the diamond formation and then the ability to bootleg out of it. And that time they leak Penix out as one of the backs out of that diamond formation, and he's just sitting there. Really an easy conversion. Well-designed play for NC State on offense.
And that's what the Wolfpack need right now. Put together a sustained drive. Give this defense a little breather.
Yeah, there's no question. You've got to keep them off the field. And again, the clock just crushed NC State. No ability to get into rhythm in that first quarter because Kentucky maintained possession of the ball.
There's Knight again, twisting his way for a pickup of a couple. 2nd down. Boogie Watson with the stop.
I'm a little surprised, though, that with the youth, particularly number 14 at corner for Kentucky, Carrington Valentine is just a true freshman. And with the size and the ability on the outside, when they have chosen to throw the football, they haven't just tried to pick on some guys, pick some spots. But I do like that they're getting back to the run game here.
Hockman sets, now moves his feet, and completes to the near sideline. Dylan Autenreith, kind of one of the unsung heroes of this offense, is that fullback, H-back, tight end sometimes.
Yeah, and they've got a bunch of them, and they're all big kids. I mean, they're all 6'7", 6'5", 6'4". A lot of ability, and especially when you get a couple of those guys on the field at the same time, it creates some real mismatch problems.
NC State a very respectable 44% on 3rd downs this season. Kentucky showing pressure. Here comes the blitz. Hockman gets rid of it. Dangerous throw. And it's 4th and 5.
And I'm not sure what they're trying to set up here. It looks like the underneath crossing route right here on a mesh concept. And 14, Rooks does not continue across the field. Porter Rooks has got to continue that. He's settled as if it was zone.
So that's on the receiver.
Yeah, it's on the receiver, but there's just a miscommunication, and the accuracy for Bailey Hockman has not been there. His footwork's been poor. When he's been at his best, it's when they've moved the pocket in the naked game, but from within inside the pocket, he's off kilter.
So Gill to punt it away to Ali. And the fair catch made at about the 22-yard line, where Kentucky will take over.
The TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, brought to you by Visit Jacksonville. Go to visitjacksonville.com to see why vacationing is easier here in Jacksonville.
The 2003 Gator Bowl, the final chapter of that 2002 NC State season, the best in school history. A school record 11 wins, Phillip Rivers leading the way, and they stymied Notre Dame 28-6 in Rivers' final game. Had some trick plays. NC State's got a rich history in the Gator Bowl, but that moment, that's the biggest win in school history, and shockingly, That is the only 10-win season in program history.
Well, and you think about that 4-year run that they had with Phillip Rivers out of Athens, little Athens, Alabama. Everybody's recruiting him to play tight end. He goes to NC State for Chuck Amato. The rest is history.
Still playing. Josh Ali ambushed in the backfield. Vi Jones along with Savion Jackson back there.
Anish, I've been really impressed with the adjustments made within the front by NC State.
What did they do?
Well, I think what they've decided to do is they've slanted some to the field. They've kind of got a beat on when Kentucky's on a hash. They kind of got a sense of where the ball's going, and they're slanting to that side of the field with their front. So generally a 3-man front, but they have been really good with gap penetration. Isaiah Moore, number 1, went out. Remember, the middle linebacker. So Seth Williams, as a redshirt sophomore, listed 3 on the 2 deep, and he's made a lot of plays.
Rodriguez into the secondary, bulldozes across the 30 for a first down. I was just about to say, with Moore out, you're down your top 3 linebackers, and Chris Rodriguez, once he got past the D-line, he wasn't going to be stopped.
And that one was on Jalen Scott, number 2, who plugged the wrong gap. He went to the A gap. He was responsible for the B gap. That's the gap between the guard and the tackle. That's exactly where Rodriguez shot through.
Wilson will keep it. RPO being chased and throws it away. Larisha.
Well, guys, I had the opportunity to talk to Chris Rodriguez, and he told me that when he was in elementary school, he actually played center. Yes, center on the offensive line. But he got injured, and then his brother sort of took over at the center spot. So that's when he switched to fullback, and then his coach felt like he would do good, and then he switched over to running back. But he told me when he played center, he learned a lot in that position, and he learned what it actually meant to be on the line and how to block.
You know who would have loved him on the offensive line? Jamie Chadwell at
right,
Coastal Carolina.
He fits the measurable dimension.
Coastal center is 5'9", 280, thereabouts.
Yep.
A.J. Rose, open sesame. It's a foot race with Duffy, and Rose out of bounds after a huge pickup. 47 yards.
Well, Anish, now we look like we're right back in the first quarter of the opening Kentucky drive, with Kentucky doing anything they want at the point of attack in the run game. After the last 2 series saw NC State really shore things up. Now they are getting gashed with a penalty flag to follow.
A penalty marker is down. Kentucky has not been penalized yet. 3 on NC State, all offsides penalties.
After the play, there were fouls by both teams. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 80, that's his first. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 13, that's his first. Those fouls offset at the dead ball spot. It's 1st and 10.
So Tyler Baker-Williams for NC State and Brendan Bates, the tight end for Kentucky. Dave Doran's second winningest coach in NC State history, behind only Earl Edwards. Other sideline, Mark Stoops only trails Bear Bryant at Kentucky in wins.
Yeah, the job these 2 guys have done, and the state of the program when they both took over. It's a great example of things don't necessarily happen overnight. You don't wave a magic wand, but if you build it and you have patience, you can build a winner long term.
Cavassier Smoke with an opening to the outside and lunges forward inside the 5-yard line. The Kentucky run game picking up.
Again, number 2, the middle linebacker there, and Jalen Scott has really struggled leveraging the football and being where he's supposed to be, and Kentucky's got a great feel now to that left side, taking advantage of, again, a depleted front 7 for NC State.
142 rush yards for Kentucky, just 4 for NC State. This, though, is where the Wolfpack defense has been so good.
Yep.
On goal-to-go possessions, only giving up a touchdown 41% of the time, almost a quarter of the possessions empty. But not this one. Rodriguez in for the first touchdown of this Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
Well, I mean, she's been the bell cow on this series, him and Cavassier Smoke. And I love the design here. Again, you pull number 80, you pull Brendan Bates across the formation to block the unblocked defender, who's the defensive end. You create that gap on the inside. And NC State has struggled to plug gaps on both sides of the center for the entirety of that series.
Chris Rodriguez came into this game with 3 straight 100-yard games, not consecutively. Missed the Alabama and Florida games due to COVID issues, as the PAT by Ruffalo is good. It was the running attack, the big run by Rose. Smoke got him inside the 10. Rodriguez finishes the drive in style. (10-0) Kentucky on top of NC State after a Chris Rodriguez touchdown run. The Progressive Bowl Challenge Cup will be awarded to the conference that has the highest winning percentage in the postseason. SEC at 3-2. The ACC pitching a Blutarski right now.
0.0. You know, the interesting thing about this is bowl games. Number one, it's an any given Saturday scenario. Number two, all right, it's all about matchups. What's the matchup do you get? Do you get a favorable matchup? Do you get one that's not favorable? And you know, anything can happen in a bowl game. I don't know if it's necessarily a reflection or an indictment on any conference.
Also, and I know I don't want to get you on a rant right now, but who's playing and who's not playing?
Sure. Well, yeah, obviously that's going to play a big role. I can tell you one thing. This guy better start playing better, because what Kentucky has now done with NC State's inability to run the football, NC State has 4 yards rushing right now, -9 because of sacks from Bailey Hockman. They don't want to be in a position where they have to rely on the passing game to bring them back into this game. Kentucky's completely dominating it, especially on the ground. NC State's got to get back to what brought them here: balance, complementary football in the play-action passing game off of a strong run game.
Jordan Houston is the running back. He's a scat back, gets it on the screen, and Jamin Davis with a great tackle in space, no gain. Bailey Hockman, it's been an odyssey for him. Originally committed to Georgia, ended up at Florida State, transferred to junior college, came to NC State last year, got a shot, faltered as he hands it off, and Houston appears to have a first down. He opens this season as the starter because Devin Leary was in contact tracing and really didn't have
twice
a full fall camp.
So you don't have spring ball. You've got a new coordinator in Tim Beck that's never seen Devin Leary throw. So you have the situation at Virginia Tech. He pulls Bailey Hockman and says, I've got to see something from Devin Leary.
Amezi takes the bubble screen close to the 40.
And just to kind of continue the path of the journey of NC State football, we've got a flag here thrown late.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct for taunting defense number 26. That's his first. 15-yard penalty from the dead ball spot, automatic. First down.
That's a veteran in Brandon Eccles that knows better. That's a silly penalty. But getting back to the quarterback situation is, you decide to start Devin Leary, and he gets the win versus Pitt the following week, and this offense starts to soar. Now, what could Bailey Hockman have done in the climate that we're in right now? Pout, be disgruntled, become a locker room lawyer, decide to enter the transfer portal. He doesn't. He hangs in there. He supports his teammates, and now as a result, they're in a bowl game because of his leadership.
Here is Amezi. NC State has had a future NFL quarterback at the helm in 10 of the last 13 seasons.
Right.
Now, Hockman isn't Russell Wilson or Mike Glennon or Jacoby Brissett or Finley, but you have to give him credit the way he did steady the ship down the stretch. I know the schedule was softer. He's got plenty of time and has to throw it away. Great coverage downfield. We have a flag. There was a there goes the season sort of gasp from the NC State fan base when Devin Leary got hurt.
We all felt it. We really did as we await this penalty because they had gotten hot. We're playing such good football in the East. This is a full-blown board meeting.
There is no foul for an ineligible player downfield on the pass. The quarterback was legally grounding the ball, allowed by rule. It's third down.
Nice job by the officials. Of course, the ball is thrown out of bounds and past the line of scrimmage as well outside of the pocket. You know, I think that this guy is a sufficient player. All right, is he going to be an elite player? Is he going to do things that you sit there and say, hey, we can win every game because of this guy? Maybe not. But Devin Leary and this guy make for a formidable duo at quarterback.
Big third down for the Wolfpack. Play clock expires and a delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Larisha spoke about this in her opening hit. You also have to give Tim Beck a lot of credit, the offensive coordinator, for what he's done with Bailey Hockman and putting him in the right spots. And Hockman, again, the confidence level is higher.
Sure.
He was telling us, his teammates, believing in him, feeling that he's really the #1 quarterback, which he didn't feel at the beginning of the season.
No question.
3rd and 13 after the penalty. 4-man pressure with a spy, and Hockman delivers a strike. It's Thayer Thomas, who's had some huge games down the stretch. 9 catches against Syracuse, 11 against Florida State.
Yeah, he's their slot guy. And now you're getting a little tempo. You get the first down.
Kentucky calls their second timeout of the half.
Timeout Kentucky after a pickup of 19 by Thomas. Wolfpack threatening. I've got tight suit fitting envy, Matt. And slipping down is Jordan Houston. Second down. Well, Steve Sarkisian, by all reports, heading to Texas. What do you make of that?
Well, listen, if you're going to make the move they're going to make, you've got to have somebody in line. You've got to be ready to go, and it better be a splash guy. So, in my opinion, Sark has rehabilitated himself both personally and professionally. We know scheme-wise what he's capable of putting together. The question is, how quickly can you get that level of player on offense that he's got at Alabama at the University of Texas?
It's been a hard job the last few times out. Charlie Strong didn't get much of a leash. I thought Tom Herman would for sure get one more season. Houston on third down is stopped. Big number 50, Marquand McCall, 6'3", 380.
Yeah.
That is Gibraltar that moves.
Look at him in the middle. Oh, my goodness. Oh, those are those plays that you've got to get a note from your mother to play on the offensive line. If you're at NC State, I mean, talk about leverage and upper body strength. Snap quickness. Wow, here we go. Fourth down.
4th and 1, traditional I. And surging ahead is Person to move the chains. Huge conversion here in the final 3 minutes of the opening half.
Yeah, and listen, the confidence that I think this offense gained on that 3rd and 13 conversion in which Bailey Hockman finally made a play in the passing game to Thayer Thomas in the slot has kind of energized this offense. They've got to come away with some points. They have not been held scoreless in the first half. NC State all season long. So credit Kentucky. NC State's got to get on track with some rhythm, and they've got a nice one going here.
Kentucky, a top 30 red zone defense nationally. Person is thrown down. Boogie Watson in the backfield. Double-digit TFLs on the season for the senior.
Yeah, that's his 10th. You just see the pursuit from the backside, unblocked, and And you get a sense, you watch this Kentucky team and you look at them going, these guys are pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are pretty good. They got depth and athletes, and really where Mark Stoops has upgraded this program is in the trenches on both sides of the ball. That's the difference between the new Kentucky and the Kentucky of old.
Hockman slings it out to Thomas. Incomplete. It hit the ground. Actually, that's Kerry Angeline, the tight end. 3rd and 13.
Tight end, 6'7", Anish. You can't throw the ball on the ground if you're Bailey Hockman. They've got to somewhat, NC State, come up with a way of having back-to-back positive plays. They can't seem to string together a series of plays with positive momentum. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back for this offense.
Hockman on the move, looking for an escape route, and now just throws it away. Kentucky's coverage, even being down a couple of bodies in the secondary, has really made Bailey Hockman look and look and look, and nothing's there. We've seen that a few times.
There's nowhere to go with the football, and you see Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator, really frustrated with, really, it looks like his signal caller there in Ben Finley, the freshman, brother Ryan Finley, and something wasn't coming into the game correctly. And you see Tim Beck, I love that. Put your arm around your quarterback. Let's have a little talk.
Christopher Dunn on for the field goal. He was a little erratic in warm-ups. He's been pretty good on the season, though. 12 out of 15, this from 40. And that wobbler doesn't get there. I don't know, was that tipped?
I think it was partially blocked here. You had some penetration. If we take a look, and Kentucky's certainly saying it is. Off the right side of your screen. It's like 23, Anish. Yeah, he got a finger on it.
That's Tyrell Asian.
Yeah. And again, your NC State, Asian does a nice job in the kicking game, and your NC State, and you finally string together a respectable series and come away with no points.
This Kentucky defense, the numbers were skewed a little bit, let's be honest, because of who they played and the schedule. Here comes Rose. He had a big 47-yard run on the last drive. Still churning. Ball comes out at the end, but right into his embrace.
Wow.
Another big run for A.J. Rose.
And it's all to the left. Everything that Kentucky is doing, and again, they have just done such a poor job on the last 2 series. NC State on defense, you see Rose hanging onto the football of plugging gaps.
Wilson fires a strike. Allen Daly, the 6'3" junior from Pinson, Alabama. Bo Nix of Auburn, his high school quarterback.
Pinson Valley High School. Now, you mentioned that Kentucky defense, and they've been hamstrung a little bit. They were hamstrung by the offense's passing game as well, on the field a lot.
Now Cavassier smoke, Kentucky with a timeout. And they also had some games missing a bunch of guys against Florida. They were down a lot of guys, even in the win against South Carolina. Smoke with some extracurriculars. Clock stops with 38 seconds. Officials getting in the middle. They blew the whistle.
Right. Let's really give this thing some perspective. You are the worst team in college football throwing the football. 124 yards a game for Kentucky. Yet you're able to move the football effectively when everybody in the stadium knows what's coming. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Officials timeout for an injured player on the defense, which by rule under 1 minute with a running clock requires a 10-second runoff. Kentucky has declined the 10-second runoff, therefore the clock will start on the snap.
Daniel Joseph, the grad transfer from Penn State. Yeah, Kentucky obviously would decline in that spot, the 10-second runoff.
Yep.
Tuesday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN. We'll have the 86th annual Heisman Trophy ceremony and the first ever virtual presentation. The 4 finalists: Alabama quarterback Mac Jones, a former Kentucky commit; Alabama wide receiver Devontae Smith; Clemson's Trevor Lawrence; and Florida's Kyle Trask. If Devontae Smith didn't convince you before last night. I hope he has convinced you by
man.
now.
Yeah, he is. And it's not just the plays that he makes. It's his presence and his influence on the defense that allows for other plays to be made. And that kind of tells the story, right?
And he's had to do more when Jalen Wadley went down.
Jalen Waddle, there's no question. And all the different places that he can line up. And as a route runner, he's not good, he's special.
2nd and 7. Smoke, the running back, out of that pistol look. Wilson keeps it. Not much room. Again, Kentucky just one timeout. 3rd down. How do you play this now if you're the Wildcats?
I wonder if that was a blunder right there. That ball should have been handed off to Smoke, and he would have been off to the races. You're in control of the game.
Kentucky calls their 3rd and final timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
Final timeout for Kentucky. 25 seconds to go, 3rd and 7. This season for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities. All-State will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, All-State.
If you're Kentucky, don't get cute here. You're in control of the game, all right? You want to go into the locker room, at least be up 13-0. And the problem is your passing game limits your options here, because if you're Mark Stoops and you're Vince Marrow, the offensive coordinator right now, you don't want to take unnecessary risk with a passing game that's not competent.
So do you just run the ball to try to get closer for Ruffalo?
Well, the problem is you do that, you have no timeouts now. And so your issue is, what is your sudden change? And right now, Mark Stoops, his special teams coordinator, offensive coordinator, you see Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator, they are getting everybody ready. They're going to attempt to throw it anyway, but it's got to go to the sideline here.
Wilson to throw. Over the middle, the tight end, Rigg. He's got running room. Rigg inside the 5. That'll momentarily stop the clock. 16 seconds to go. Now you can spike it, and you've got a chance to run a couple of plays.
Yep. I was a little surprised they go over the middle here, but put yourself in a situation.
NC State calls a timeout.
Wow.
First timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
I think that was a defensive move by Dave Doran. We did a game earlier this year, Western Michigan, Toledo. As Vince Marrow
Yeah, we're good.
is talking to Mark Stoops. We did a game where it looked like the team was going to line up and spike the ball.
Yes.
And they faked it, and they caught the defense off guard, and that was the game winner.
That's exactly right.
Intense conversation there between Marrow and Stoops, high school buddies.
Well, these are these big moments where, you know, as a coordinator and as a play caller, the situational awareness and the importance of being inside the 5-yard line, in control of the game with 15 seconds, and you've got no timeouts. Again, do you want to sit there and say, we're Kentucky, let's just run the football? Well, yeah, you do, but, you know, that's a little bit obvious from a predictability standpoint.
Apologies, last catch, not by Rigg, it was Upshaw, the other tight end. 1st and goal from the 15 seconds. Wilson looking for 6, he wanted Upshaw again, incomplete. Cedric Powell with the coverage, Cecil Powell with the coverage. 2nd and goal.
Well, you got to like the matchup, right? You got Powell, who's 6'2", 210, versus Upshaw, who's 6'6". I would have loved to have seen Terry Wilson throw that up a little higher, more to the back shoulder, and I think you've got a clean touchdown catch right there. So ball thrown a little to the inside, but I like the individual matchup.
Quarterback has to have the clock in his head here.
No doubt.
10 seconds. Wilson looking for 6 again. Flag is down. It's caught by Daly for a touchdown.
Illegal formation, offense, 5 men in the backfield. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. 2nd down.
Now you got to kick it here, right?
Yeah, just an absolute killer. And credit Terry Wilson. You don't have great ball placement on the previous throw, and then you just throw an absolute dart, the only place it could have been thrown, and now it's negated because you didn't line up correctly. And again, those important situational moments in the red area, the clock's against you, you have no timeouts. You can't be a team that doesn't line up right. That's why Mark Stoops is going nuts on the sideline.
26-yarder for Ruffalo, who has hit today from 25. Perfect inside 40 for his career. And puts it through. Couple of seconds left on the clock. 13-0. And it appears we have another flag.
The result of the play is a successful PAT. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 78, that's his first. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the ensuing kickoff.
Now NC State on its kick return team, you've got Bam Knight.
Yep.
Who is a threat. He took one back against Miami. Right there, 78.
Come
Nick
on,
Lewis.
fella. Be better than that. The redshirt sophomore, and you're from Jacksonville, young man. Come on, represent.
So Kentucky off this kickoff, are you just squibbing it?
Well, if you remember the previous kickoff, because of Bam Knight, they decided to pooch it up into the corner. I would probably elect to do the same thing here because from a time perspective, even if that ball goes out of bounds on you, you're okay if you're Kentucky in the kickoff unit.
Chance poor. There it is, another sky kick. Fair caught inside the 30, 2 seconds to go. NC State will receive to begin the third quarter. First time this season the Wolfpack have been held without a point in the first half.
It's unbelievable the job that the momentum NC State had coming in offensively and the job that Kentucky has done on defense, knowing they were going to be depleted in the back end, starting a freshman at one of the corners. Credit Mark Stoops, his staff. I think that defensively, Brad White had a great plan, and that was if NC State's going to elect to throw it, that plays to our advantage. That's not NC State's strength, so I'm a little surprised by Tim Beck's approach here in the first half for NC State.
They'll run it, and that takes us to halftime. Ricky Person on the carry.
This is the end of the first half.
We got the sense Kentucky was going to play inspired football. What John Schlarman means, what Chris Oates means. Wildcats pitch a shutout. Their offensive line paving the way for 180 rush yards in that first half. 13-zip. The Wildcats on top of NC State. To the studio now, Matt Barry, Joey Galloway, and the always dapper Jesse Palmer.
This is Capital One Bowl Mania.
You're watching the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence's future home. And Kentucky, 4-1 when leading at the half, brings a 13-0 second half lead into this one. NC State's rushing game, their dynamic duo, Zonovan Knight and Ricky Person. Boy, They have been bottled up by this Kentucky defense.
Yeah, they have been bottled up, and a lot of it, I think, is almost to their own detriment.
Wolfpack will receive to begin the second half. And here is Knight, a dangerous return man. And Bam breaking through, tackle still churning, and gets the push, and maybe that's the spark that NC State needs across the 30 as we check in with Larisha Harris.
Well, guys, I spoke with head coach Dave Doran of the Wolfpack, and he told me, that he's not pleased with what his guys are doing. He says they need to finish and that they need to stop playing cautious and just let it loose. On the other side, when I talked to Coach Mark Stoops, he told me that he is pleased with what his guys are doing on the line of scrimmage, but he's not a fan of the penalties that cost them a touchdown. They need to keep that intensity up and be more disciplined.
1st and 10 from the 32. Bailey Hockman on the slant, And a drop pass by a Mezzi, normally a sure-handed wide receiver.
Well, that's what I was saying about this offense. To their own detriment, it's been their approach that's been perplexing. And then you see the drop here by the sure-handed Mezzi, who's been a go-to player in this offense, but again, not running the football. That's the bread and butter of this offense. So, again, the approach a little bit off kilter for me.
Again to the air. And Hockman finds a soft spot in the zone and completes to Carter to midfield. How much of tempering that run game has to do with Kentucky's defense?
Well, I think it's probably considerable, but you at least got to attempt, right? And they're going to run it to the perimeter here.
Ricky Person picks up a couple, and you brought this point up in the first half. NC State had trouble stringing together positive plays in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, you know, and it's good to see two back-to-back there, one pass, one run. But you're right, they haven't been able to get into any type of rhythm, and a lot of that is because Kentucky maintained possession of the ball throughout the first half.
And movement in the trenches.
And the question's going to be, Anish, did the jump on behalf of the Kentucky defender cause the false start in the offensive line for NC State?
Offside. Defense, number 92. He came into the neutral zone, causing an offensive player to react. That's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Phil Hoskins, the senior from Toledo. He's a sixth-year senior, and he has said on the record he is considering going on the Van Wilder program and coming back for a 7th.
Boy, I'd love to have an extra year of eligibility.
Zonovan Knight with a first down and then some. And a good-looking opening drive for NC State to begin this third quarter.
A very good-looking drive, and I like how they've had some push. You got a lot of white jerseys around the ball carrier continuing to aid the forward momentum. But again, can you string together successive plays of positive yardage? And it's not just going to come through the air for this offense. I think Kentucky looks at NC State and says, hey, keep throwing it. We'll do that all day. We just can't allow you to run the ball on us.
Hockman will throw. And off the hands, Carter was wide open. He missed him.
Well, he missed him high and to the right, and I think it's because of the underneath defender that Kentucky had in the flat that was in a direct line of sight of the throw. You see that right there to the bottom of the screen, so he has to throw it up and to the right. You see 15 right there in the secondary, and that was a big problem for the throw for Bailey Hockman.
Yeah, Jordan Wright, the linebacker, in that line of vision. To the ground on second down. Knight with an opening, and he's got 9 yards. Yet an offensive lineman throwing his body to clear some space.
Yeah, see, this is their game. Outside stretch zone, all right? Getting the lineman to work up to the second level. A lot of bodies being thrown around in each right.
Joe Sculthorpe, straight nosedive, and there's a first down. Back to the ground game, back to Zonovan Knight from Southern Nash High School in Bailey, North Carolina, the same high school that produced Julius Peppers. Hockman pumps, has time, double pumps, now checks down. Mezzi out of the ambush and able to pick up positive yards.
Boy, Mezzi bailed them out right here. This could have been a huge negative play.
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
Officials timeout. There's an injured Wildcat. Will step aside. Wolfpack on the move.
I think it's Phil Hoskins.
Yeah, is that night? Phil Hoskins had to come out of the game. The Big 6'5" defensive tackle with a 7-foot wingspan. 2nd and 8. NC State. Hockman back to the air and airmails Carter again. And then Carter with a shove on Eccles. And Eccles has watched some soccer during quarantine.
Apparently. Oh boy. Having to resuscitate him. Devin Carter, young man, what are you doing? What?
There's no reason. Your team is in scoring distance.
Well, what caused it? I mean,
The result of the play is an incomplete pass. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 88. That's his first. 15-yard penalty from the dead ball spot. It is 3rd down.
So you've now backed the ball up from the 23 to the 38, effectively taking you out of field goal range.
yeah, absolutely. And on a mental penalty that really was, to be honest with you, unprovoked. The contact happened during the course of the play. And I think Mark Stoops will be addressing some of the post-play shenanigans.
Is Eccles enrolled in the School of Drama, by the way?
If he's not, he's taking it next semester.
Over the middle, and that is C.J. Riley. That's a big play to get them inside the 25-yard line. It's 4th down, 10 to go, and much more manageable attempt for Dunn. Although Dunn missed his first one, it might have been tipped, and during warm-ups, he was very erratic.
Yeah, they just got to get something positive as it relates to points.
But that penalty detonated
Absolutely.
all the momentum on that drive.
Well, and to be honest with you, it's kind of been a reflection of NC State on offense all day long.
A 42-yarder by Dunn, who missed from 40. And he missed that one. So whatever was going on in warm-ups with what is usually a pretty reliable kicker has carried over into the game.
Dunn looks hesitant, and he can't get the ball up. He doesn't have any elevation, and wow. So erratic in the kicking game. And again, a reflection of this team all day long. The inability to have successful plays.
He came into this game, Dunn did, 90% inside of 50 for his career. The Wolfpack's all-time leader in field goals made. A.J. Rose, 100 yards rushing in that first half. He and Chris Rodriguez went for over 100 last time out against South Carolina at the beginning of December. Rose straight ahead, 1st down and more. Isaiah Moore back in there for NC State, try to rip it away, and more flags trailing the play.
And they're going to get Darian Kennard here, number 70, the right tackle for Kentucky, late. As well as maybe one other penalty, but 70 for Kentucky. Again, be smart, young man. Hurting your football team.
Temper's starting to flare.
Maybe discussing multiple penalties here. Clearly at the back end of the play with Kennard's got to be one of them.
The result of the play is a 1st down. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 70. That's his first. 15-yard penalty from the dead ball spot, and it's 1st and 10.
And what took so long to determine that? It was a pretty easy call, but you just see the block in the back of the NC State defender, and that's Isaiah Moore, who missed most of the first half with an injury. Middle linebacker from already a depleted position for NC State.
The only silver lining there for Kentucky, it was a dead ball penalty.
Right.
So the play counts. You're just pushed back in terms of yardage. It's still 1st and 10. Chris Rodriguez bouncing it to the outside and falls forward like he usually does. A gain of 2. Rodriguez must feel fresh because he's splitting time with A.J. Rose, and Cavassier Smoke gets in there.
Yep.
In high school, he had a game where he carried the ball 51 times and ran for almost 400 yards.
In a game.
With
12-minute quarters.
That's right. Wilson, a low throw, and it's brought in by Epps. Have you ever thrown it 51 times in a game?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I mean, that part of it ain't as physical as the 51 touches.
What was the final score?
I can't even remember. It was so long ago. I'm old, Anish.
3rd and 2, Kentucky. Let's see if they can rely on this big blue wall, that O-line up front one more time.
NC State, look at that. Almost 7 players, 6 within the box. A 7th as an overhang defender up at the top. Only 5 blockers.
And a flag with the play clock hitting 0.
Prior to the snap and prior to the expiration of the play clock, Kentucky calls their first timeout of the half.
Kentucky avoiding the delay of game. 3rd and 2, Wildcats on the other side.
The TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, brought to you by Florida's enchanted Amelia Island. Come make memories.
Some of the accomplishments for this Kentucky senior class, a 19-man class 2 years ago, helping Kentucky to a 10-win season and winning SEC record, first time since '77. Snapped a 31-game losing streak to Florida. Won at Tennessee for the first time since '84. 5 wins against ranked teams, and today seeking a 3rd bowl victory. Terry Wilson, the quarterback, got hurt last year, but he's a big part of the accomplishments of that 19-man group.
No question. And really, you got to credit former coordinator Eddie Grand, Darren Hinshaw, for their influence on those teams.
Rodriguez taken down in the backfield by Baker Williams, and that is no small thing. Rodriguez had 100-plus carries consecutively without negative yardage. That's twice today NC State's gotten him for a TFL.
Yeah, no question. And you can tell NC State's to the point now where they're saying Kentucky just can't throw it. So we're just going to line up in the box, and we're going to dare them to go downfield on us.
Max Duffy, 27-year-old Australian. Watch for 31 in white. Vi Jones, 3 blocked kicks this year. And Duffy, the Ray Guy Award winner from last year, sends it to Thayer Thomas. Fair catch made inside the 25. All right, Monday, January 11th, a week from this Monday, it's the national championship. Bama and Ohio State, they met in the semifinals in the first year of the college football playoff. How stunned were you last night with what Ohio State did to Clemson?
I was stunned. I'm not going to lie to you. And I think so much of that revolves around, to this point, the performance of Justin Fields in big games. And then last night, there's not been a player in the college football player that enhanced his draft stock better than Justin Fields in his performance last night at Ohio State. It was remarkable.
In the playoff era, that might have been the best quarterback performance we've seen. Hockman slings it to the outside. It's C.J. Riley. He suffered a torn ACL, missed most of last year, was working his way back for the better part of this year. Had his best game last time out against Georgia Tech. Yep. A graduate student, 6'4", 225, another big target on the outside.
Yeah, big targets and a grad student, but the rest of this receiving core is, for the most part, back, and they're big. 6'4", 220, 225. Really athletic group on the perimeter for NC State.
Bam Knight searching for running room, and then stood up by Jamin Davis, Kentucky's leading tackler.
Officials
and there is a man down
for an injured offensive player.
Justin Witt, who splits time at right tackle with Bryson Spees.
Wait.
NC State really only plays 6 on that O-line, and Right tackle is the one area where you see backups. It's Spees or Witt, and that's Witt who is down for Dave Doran's team. Next weekend is Wild Card Weekend with triple headers both days, and we are blowing our broadcast out with megacast coverage on ESPN, Deportes, and ABC, with ESPN2 and Freeform having their own unique telecasts. Matchup day and time will be determined after tomorrow's games. The NFC East could potentially have a 10-loss champion. Low throw to the sideline, scooped up Porter Rooks. And let's see where they mark him down. They'll give him the first down. Think about that. We could have a team from the AFC with 10 wins not make the playoffs.
Yes.
And we could have a team from the NFC East with 10 losses make the playoff.
And what, get top 5 pick?
Keon Lassaine's second catch of the season. NC State using some of its receiver depth. Well, that's not good as Witt is getting carted off. That's why play was stopped earlier.
Yeah, they were so excited to get him back into the lineup.
And movement up front.
Ball start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Sculthorpe, the all-conference left guard. Bryson Spees has checked in at right tackle, 56. So he'll come in for Witt, and that's not nothing new. Those two split time out there.
Yeah, they're perfectly comfortable in that offensive line matchup. They've had, gosh, a ton of different combinations throughout the year. Again, another established area of depth for NC State on offense.
Ekwonu, their best offensive lineman at left tackle, began the year at left guard. There's Zonovan Knight, upended, withstands the contact, and gets back to the line of scrimmage, third down.
Yeah, that man right there, number 14, Carrington Valentine, the true freshman, having to start at corner.
Offside. Defense, number 96, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Getting a little sloppy in this second half, Isaiah Gibson, the guilty party for Kentucky.
Yeah, Mark Stoops mentioned that to Larisha coming out of the locker room. He's just tired of the silly penalties. Got to play cleaner football. Going back to Carrington there, 14, the corner, really responsible for blowing up that screen on the last play.
Hockman's pass is batted down. It looked like Bohanna.
Bohanna again with the leverage, the power at the point of attack, and then gets his big paw up there to deflect the ball. And you look at Kentucky inside. All right, they're 6'3", 380, 6'4", 360, 6'5", 315. I mean, these are some massive human beings, and they've got depth. And they rotate guys in there. It's a load to handle between the tackles.
Multiple mountains, and all of them ride. 3rd and 5. Hockman has an open receiver. It's Lasaine bouncing off tacklers and takes it inside the 25. So Keon Lasaine had 1 catch all season, has 2 on this drive.
Yeah, that was a very impressive play. And
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
That might be some friendly fire. If you look at the end of this play, that's Brandon Eccles, who's made some plays today. He's also had some penalties against him. But he's trying to strip Lasaine down the field as he's chasing him in the open field. You're going to see him right there, and then he gets hit. And I think it's Vito Tisdale, number 7, the true freshman, comes in, and wow, Tisdale's going to be a future star. Mark Stoops loves this kid. Right here, 26, there's Eccles, boom.
Yeah. Eccles, a senior out of Memphis, making the switch from receiver to DB in junior college. He had an interception in this game, and That cornerback position now getting thinned out for Kentucky. Kelvin Joseph had opted out long before this game. Cedric Dort out today. He's unavailable.
Right.
So those were two of your top three. You take out Eccles, you're now down your top three corners.
Yeah, and your backup safety, Quandre Mosley, number 21, is having to play in a nickel and corner role today. And again, opposite of Eccles is a true freshman. And Carrington Valentine's played very, very well today for a freshman. They haven't targeted him. He hasn't given up big plays. Let's hope Eccles is all right here.
And one of the areas of concern for Mark Stoops and Brad White, the defensive coordinator at Kentucky, was the size of these NC State wide receivers on the outside. They said NC State will throw out 50-50 balls, but with those Wolfpack wideouts, they're not true 50-50 balls. Kentucky's been so good on the back end this season, but now you're losing some of those key pieces.
Yeah, and guys that have played a lot. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, and Eccles is not feeling well. Now you hope that young man is okay. 5'11" senior.
When you saw the shot that he took, kind of reminiscent a little bit last night of the shot Justin Fields took, and the pain that comes along with it. Oh.
That's breakfast on the turf, but at least Eccles is able to walk off.
Again, Vito Tisdale, number 7, who we haven't spoken much of today, but leading into this game, again, just a true freshman. They're really high on this guy, and you see how active he is. It's a critical drive here for NC State, Anish. We've spoke of it multiple times, of their inability to take some success and capitalize on it, particularly in the red area when they've had limited opportunities.
Last time from the 23, this is where Devin Carter got the unsportsmanlike penalty. Here's Zonovan Knight on the cutback. And Tornadoes inside the 20-yard line. Red zone opportunity, 2nd and 6. Jordan Wright, the tackle.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that what we haven't seen from NC State are back-to-back run plays on 1st and 2nd down. They've had some success, and then they don't stick with it. They seem to want to go to the air and change things up. And to your point, as a result, some bad things have happened. They've had unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. They've had a penalty in procedure. Bailey Hockman took some sacks in the first half.
Houston and Penix in the game. Penix with a lead block, and Jordan Houston a yard and a half shy of the marker. 3rd down.
3rd down, but 4 down territory. I think with the result of that play, you're to the point now where the way Kentucky plays on offense, their ability to run the ball, you have to get a touchdown here on this drive.
Also, Chris Dunn has not looked good in the kicking game. It was bad in warm-ups. It's carried over to the game. He's 0 for 2.
Correct.
I formation, Penix the fullback. Hockman will throw. Out of the backfield, it's Houston. Valentine, the freshman, with the tackle. And it looks like they're going to give him the 1st down.
We've been singing the praises of this young freshman, and unfortunately he tackled him forward. He's there to make the play. Difficult play on the back out of the backfield. Good play call, by the way, from NC State. And that turnaround right there gets him just past the marker.
Hey, how about that throw, too? 200 pounds for Valentine.
Yeah.
Penix is 233. Zonovan Knight. Not much running room. We said it earlier, this Kentucky defense, a couple of games, the numbers were skewed. Nobody's been able to stop Alabama. Florida put up 30+ on them. But if they play a normal schedule instead of a 10-game SEC schedule, and they got the gauntlet, they had to play everybody.
Sure.
Bama, Florida, Georgia, Auburn.
4 teams that ended up in the top 10 at the final rankings of the regular season. That's 4 of their 6 losses.
Zonovan Knight breaking the first tackle and fights his way inside the 10, third down.
That's just a tremendous individual effort. Wow. That should have been a
Officials
2-yard loss.
timeout for an injured offensive player.
Another
Defensive
injury.
player.
And that is Bohanna. We saw Phil Hoskins on that D-line go down earlier. Down to Larisha.
Brandon Echols is currently being evaluated by Kentucky personnel, but I'm told they are checking his ribs right now. There's no designation on his status to return.
All right, thank you, Larisha. Echols, the starting cornerback. Remember, Joseph opted out, Dort unavailable, so it's become a game of attrition here in this second half for both teams.
Well, and getting Bohanna off the field right here, we've seen what he's been able to do in one-on-one matchups in the trenches. That's a plus for NC State.
NC State down 4 starters on defense today. 3rd and 6. Hockman under pressure. Pascal, and it's incomplete. Ooh. Looked like he had a window there for Zonovan Knight, but Josh Pascal closing quick in the backfield.
Yeah, you worry with Bailey Hockman here. I mean, you're left-handed, you're rolling to your left, that's fine, but he's not a rocket arm guy that you're going to want to throw back across your body. That ball probably could have been caught, but a dangerous throw nonetheless, and I think Bam Knight knows it.
And I understand the decision here.
Yep, I do too.
Dunn has inspired a no confidence today. Dave Doran will roll the dice.
Almost left with no choice. You've got a big matchup to the top. Big body guy on the true freshman.
NC State calls their first timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
Timeout NC State. If you are just joining us, Christopher Dunn, who has been one of the top kickers in the ACC, honorable mention all conference, really struggled in warm-ups today and 0 for 2 in the game.
You know what? The kicking game and the importance of it, it can get glossed over. And then, you know, we had a couple of this year, Anish, where you're sitting there saying if you make that field goal or you attempt the field goal early in the game, and then you look at the back end score and it's a 2-point difference. This is a confidence thing, I think, for Dave Doran, more so than it is for Christopher Dunn.
3 receivers to the boundary. Angeli, number 6, a big target down here. Hockman under pressure, eluding the pursuit, throws on the run, end zone, and it's caught! C.J. Riley brings it in.
Officials timeout for an injured offensive player.
He had Angeli, the tight end, number 6 initially, but he gets flushed from the pocket, forced to create. This is where Bailey Hockman has been really good actually all year long. He's been out of the pocket, and we talk about a game of inches. That defined it right there. Go make a play, 19.
Another injured Wolfpack player in the back of the end zone.
Question is, as an offensive lineman, was this a celebratory injury? How did he get down there?
Grant Gibson, the center, and boy, he has been the one constant with all the movement on the offensive line. He has played every offensive snap this year. Only player on the O-line to start every game at the same position.
Yeah, this has to be a celebratory injury because on a pass play that was caught in the back of the end zone. Yep, right there.
Looks like he landed awkwardly.
Shoot. You just hate to see that.
And that might be the one guy on this O-line you cannot afford to lose. Dave Dorn and Tim Beck, the OC, attending to Gibson. It's taken some of the wind out of this NC State touchdown. NC State gets on the board, but in the ensuing touchdown celebration, center Grant Gibson landed awkwardly after jumping straight up in the air. He has to be helped off. He has played every offensive snap this season. Ethan Lane is a true freshman and is listed as the backup center. NC State hasn't needed one this season. They're not deep on the offensive line. We already saw Justin Witt, the right tackle, go out, but he and Bryson Spees have split time. This is a huge loss.
Well, it's a huge loss for a couple of reasons. You mentioned the backup being a freshman, and he's also light, all right? He's not even a 290-pounder. So now you're going to have a true freshman in there. You're going to be a shotgun-based offense predominantly. So you got to be concerned maybe about the consistency of the snaps. And then on top of it, the calls at the line of scrimmage, pass protection calls, the responsibility and the communication is going to be critical for the rest of this game.
Dunn's point after is good. Monday, January 11th, it is the national championship game presented by AT&T. Alabama and Ohio State, the Tide installed as an early favorite. But if Justin Fields plays the way he did against Clemson, and obviously he's got to get healthy after that hit he took, Ohio State's going to have a chance the way they're playing right now.
No question about that. Look at the MegaCast here, too.
MegaCast coverage. You've got CFP Live on ESPN2, Skycast on the U. You've been a part of the film room coverage in the past.
Done that a number of years. It's tough to do that in a pandemic year, though. That thing's going to get tricky.
All sorts of options for you on how to watch the national championship a week from Monday as the 2020 college football season comes to an end. We sit here, I think there's a lot of gratitude because I would say as far back as late July, we weren't sure we would have football in the fall.
Or how we were going to do it if we did.
Well, here we are, Tom Luganville and I in our Charlotte studios. Larisha Harris in Jacksonville, and you talk to coaches from all over the country, across all programs. Adaptability has been the one constant this season, and the teams that have been able to do that have had success.
Yeah, they've been able to do that, and then, you know, what type of depth that you have, because more so than any other year, everybody's depth has been challenged significantly, and I credit both Dave Dorn and Mark Stoops with these two teams. Both of them went to their teams. Both coaches prepared their administrations for not playing in a bowl game. Went to the team and said, guys, what do you want to do? And every one of them to a man said, hey, coach, we're playing. We got to finish this thing out. There's unfinished business for us. There's a lot to be proud of between these two teams, and I know the coaches are awfully proud of them as well.
Cavassier smoke met by Isaiah Moore. Mark Stoops told us this season has been brutally hard, and it's not just the backdrop of what everybody else has been dealing with. A beloved teammate, Chris Oates, in May, diagnosed with a serious medical condition undisclosed by the school. They don't know if he'll ever play football again.
Right.
They've rotated his 22 jersey throughout the season. And then in November, John Schlarman, the offensive line coach, the architect of the Big Blue Wall, Kentucky's O-line, a big part of establishing the current culture, lost his 2-year battle with cancer. That weighed on the team. But, like you said, Mark Stoops asked his team, hey, do you guys want to play? Because I understand if you don't.
Right.
He said it was almost unanimous.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot to be said for the culture of this program, the type of kids. We take a look here at the late John Schlarman, his final game with his crew, and that bond and that relationship between an offensive line coach and their group is special. It's unique.
Chris Oates getting the game ball after the Mississippi State game. On 3rd and 7, Wilson against the rush. NC State brought the nickel blitz, and Wilson able to convert a first down catch made. It's Epps who's been a big factor in the pass game today.
Yes, and credit Terry Wilson. You almost have he gets flushed because of the twist inside. And rolling to his right, a good athlete. Nice job by Epps, giving himself a nice target to the sideline.
Cavassier Smoke, not much there.
And you can see here as Smoke is slow to get up. Boy, we had a lot of bumps and bruises today between these two teams.
Timeout for an injured player.
Smoke able to leave the field on his own power.
We got a sub.
While they try to find a sub, you can't make it to the College Football Championship in Miami. We understand. Join us virtually for the CFP Championship all-access experience featuring exclusive content and the chance to win prizes. Register today at collegefootballplayoff.com/all-access. On 2nd and 10, Wilson will tuck and run. He has the most rush yards of any Kentucky quarterback, and you know what? The fact that he's still playing tells you, because Mark Stoops said, I'd like to get all three guys in, Joey Gatewood and Bo Allen, but Terry's a senior. And if he's the guy, and if he's going to lead us, and if he's playing well enough for us to win, this is his game.
Yeah, he's going to stay in the game, and he has to this point. Has he done anything spectacular? No. Has he done something catastrophic? No. They've had a healthy run game, and I think that's really allowed him to play relaxed. You see NC State, they're getting to the point now. Not sure as the quarter runs out. You see NC State rushing 3, dropping 8.
And a penalty as time expires at the end of the third. It's been the story of this third quarter.
Yeah.
A lot of jawing, and it looks like almost a...
So Drake Jackson, the center, guys, decided to throw the ball down on the ground as the clock was winding down to end the third quarter.
Good job by the officials.
Yep. Savion Jackson, number 90, though, Anish.
More flags coming. And listen, the last thing you want right now is this to turn into Mississippi State Tulsa. The officials got in there. It looked like something was about to erupt. Both coaches need to use this quarter break to tell their teams what?
Say that, excuse me, talking to our producer there.
Both teams, when they go back to the sideline, the coaches are telling their teams in this quarter break what?
Temper the enthusiasm. Use it with your pads. Let your actions win the game. Don't get your mouth involved and be a detriment to your football team. Settle down, settle in. It's a long quarter to go. Hey, listen, has this thing been physical? Absolutely. Have there been tough hits? Have there been guys going down? Has there been John? Absolutely. Talk with your pads. They've got a lot to discuss here at the end of the third quarter here with what happened in Kentucky's offensive line and the defensive front for NC State and how they responded to it.
You've already had some unsportsmanlikes in this game, so you have to worry about multiple and having ejections.
Yes, no question about it.
Snap infraction by the offense, number 65. That's a 5-yard penalty and occurred as a dead ball foul with 3 seconds remaining on the clock. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, Kentucky, number 81. That's his first. Unsportsmanlike conduct, NC State, number 45. That's his first. Those fouls offset at the dead ball spot. Third down.
So Davin Van and Isaiah Epps. Epps for Kentucky, Van for NC State. So they'll have to add some time back on the clock.
This is the end of the third quarter.
I thought I heard initially they said it happened with 3 seconds. The third quarter comes to an end. Chaos in Jacksonville. It's getting chippy. It's getting physical. It's a one-score game. We should have a fun finish. And Ashraf, Tom Lugan, Bill LaRisha Harris. Start of the fourth quarter. This is how the third ended. Drake Jackson, the center, spins the ball. It's picked up by Savion Jackson for NC State. And then he and DeMarcus Harris of Kentucky, 86 in blue, get into it. It looked like somebody said something. We'll go back to it. Then there was a little confusion on the far end with the teams continuing the jawing. 3rd and 11, Upshaw, the tight end, tackled after a gain of just a yard. So 4th down for Kentucky. And here's the tail end of the play on the far side of the field. Now Terry Wilson getting into it after getting a shove from Davin Vann. And we've seen versions of this for the better part of 3 quarters.
Well, and it doesn't happen if Drake Jackson doesn't just throw the ball down on the ground, and that's what got Mark Stoops all worked up. I think going back to that 3rd and 11, that right there is a reflection of Kentucky's passing game all year. You have nowhere to go downfield with the football.
Great punt by Duffy, and it's going to pin NC State inside of the 5. Today's clutch delivery is brought to you by Chipotle. How NC State got on the board. Hockman on 4th down.
Yeah, Hockman just making a couple of plays, gets out of the pocket. I mean, look at that. I mean, wow. It just drops it in the bucket. And now all of a sudden there's a little enthusiasm, a little energy for NC State. Sculthorpe now coming in at center. Normally your starting left guard, as Grant Gibson goes down in the last series.
And Person gets the carry.
And this is the right move, Anish, because you got to have a veteran in there. You got to have somebody that can understand the calls, that you can trust with the ball getting back to the quarterback. If you're NC State, you've got some momentum because of the score. You've had a stop now on defense. I think Kentucky's lack of passing game is really starting to catch up with them. Let's see if NC State can mount a drive.
So they've reshuffled their offensive line. Derek Eason also in the game now. Number 53. A redshirt sophomore out of Norfolk. Hockman's got Thayer Thomas. He'll be close. It's 3rd down.
So late substitution here for NC State.
Heavy package.
Yep. NC State subs, got to give that opportunity to Kentucky to sub as well. This has been their play action formation for NC State and decide to run it here.
Person got away from Pascal and just got back to the line of scrimmage, and now after that punt by Duffy, NC State 3 and out. Kentucky may get a short field.
Yeah, and another reason why personnel grouping and substitution is so critical. You know, if you're light there in the box, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Kentucky able to substitute, get their heavy personnel within the box, make the stop, and to your point, now field position becomes big.
Gill to punt from his own end zone, former walk-on. Ali, a fair catch inside the 40-yard line. Good punt by Trenton Gill, 49 yards. (13-7) Kentucky looking to make it 3 straight bowl wins against NC State. Heisman Trophy ceremony Tuesday at 7 Eastern. First virtual presentation. These two are considered the front runners. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback at Clemson. Devontae Smith. Heisman Trophy brought to you by Nissan, of course. You think of how many wide receivers have won the award. And Charles Woodson, DB, return man, wide receiver in 97. Our own Desmond Howard in 91. Tim Brown won it a few years before that. It's been a quarterback's award.
Yeah, and running backs award. That's exactly right. You know, it's a shame, too, that, you know, the votes had to come in after conference championship weekend. And would minds have been changed had they come in this week?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we really think about it, because we all become prisoners of the moment, right? And all enjoyed and watched what took place in the semifinals.
I just think Devontae Smith's overall body of work, and taking nothing away from Trevor Lawrence, who's had a fine career, I think Smith's body of work is just too hard to overlook. Yeah. 2nd and 9, Wilson to throw. And on the slant route, finds his receiver.
This is where Kentucky, if you're NC State, we got another NC State guy going down.
Officials timeout for an injured player.
Same battle.
NC State's thin at cornerback too.
Yeah.
Really down to 3 guys today.
Down to 3 guys, and you lose Malik Dunlap, goes into the transfer portal. Aiden White's really your dime nickel now, and you're having to move guys around. So a lot of shuffling of personnel for NC State on both sides of the ball today.
3rd and 1 after the catch by Bryce Oliver. Rodriguez, the battering ram in the backfield. And C.J. Clark jumped on the NC State side. Was he drawn off?
Offside with contact. Defense number 52. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
That is, by my count, 4 offside penalties on NC State.
Yeah, 3 of them occurred in the first half. Dave Doran telling his football team, be disciplined. You're lined up right over the football. And credit Terry Wilson, you got some hard count, get some free yardage there.
C.J. Clark starting in place of Aleem McNeil, who's entering the draft. He opted out of the game. There's Rodriguez inside the 45.
A little bit surprised, Denise, that NC State hasn't attempted to maybe load the box, create some simulated pressures, knowing Kentucky can't effectively throw the football downfield. Maybe try and force Terry Wilson into an error based off of what he sees.
Rodriguez again gets away from Moore to the 40-yard line. First guy never seems to bring him down. It's 3rd down. Yeah. Is NC State limited, though, without all the key personnel, without Peyton Wilson and Drake Thomas and McNeil and Ingle? Are they limited in their pressure packages?
I don't know if they're limited in their pressure package. I think this is more approach-based, but they got Isaiah Moore back. He penetrates the gap right there. He makes a tackle. It's a 2-yard loss. He then misses, and next thing you know, Jakeem Harris, number 6, he misses. And hey, listen, credit Kentucky, the offensive line, and these backs, but NC State's got to start making some tackles when the opportunities are there.
NC State loading up the box, 3rd and 2. Wilson will throw. He'll take a shot downfield, and incomplete for Oliver.
Now you get the one-on-one look that you want, but what do you got to do? You got to, number one, give him a chance to catch the ball and keep the ball in bounds.
And let's see what Kentucky does. They will punt, 4th and 2. That was one where NC State was daring Kentucky.
Absolutely, and I would continue to dare them. If that's what you're going to get in a one-on-one situation with an uncatchable ball, keep doing it, NC State.
Duffy's last punt landed inside the 5. And another terrific punt. This one downed at the 13-yard line. A long way to go for NC State.
The TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, brought to you by TaxSlayer Gator Bowl Play and Win. Visit TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com to play. And Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealers today during the Toyotathon sales event.
Oh, look at beautiful Jacksonville. NC State fans have cracked open a few old toughies throughout the course of the season. A lot of late cardiac-type games. Came back in the 4th quarter against Wake. Beat Pittsburgh when Devin Leary found a Mezzi for a game-winning touchdown in the final minute. Lost to Miami on a long field goal late in the 4th quarter. beat Liberty on a blocked field goal and beat Syracuse when the Orange thought you could spike the ball on 4th down. Bailey Hockman to throw from his own 13-yard line. Downfield into coverage, intercepted by Yusuf Corker.
Bailey Hockman has not fared well today versus zone coverage on intermediate and deep level throws. Just not seeing it. You know, Kentucky's done a really nice job mixing up some man to zone, and Corker does a great job given the look that he's going down the seam and then triggering back to the sideline. And Hockman's just, he's played a lot of football and enough football to know better from a zone pre-snap concept that you can't make this throw, especially hanging the ball up there.
So Kentucky takes over in plus territory. High snap. Rodriguez stood up inside the 40. Larisha.
But we just saw Corker get that interception there, and defensive coordinator Brad White called him the director of communications for the secondary. But when I talked to him on the phone, he wasn't quite the director of communications when he recently popped the question to his girlfriend. He told me that he wanted to take her out to dinner, but when he got home, she was already eating. He didn't really know what to say, but he just said he popped the question, and that's how he got engaged. So congratulations to those two.
That's great. Rodriguez to the 30-yard line.
She's eating up a TV dinner.
That's right.
He's got a whole night planned out.
Microwavable mac and cheese, and he said, hey, I had a steak dinner plan, reservations, flowers,
I know you're
limousine with a chauffeur.
Yeah. Hey, I know you're going to be stunned to hear this. We have a penalty.
Again. Refs didn't get enough screen time in the first half. They've made up for it here in the second half.
I'm glad to see both teams, though, have settled down from an emotional standpoint.
Yeah.
A lot of chipping, a lot of jawing. The first really 3 quarters, and that has subsided. Miscues have not, however.
The result of the play is a first down. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 79, that's his first. Unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 2, that's his first. The fouls will offset at the dead ball spot. It's 1st and 10.
Oh, we've had a lot of these dead ball fouls, unsportsmanlike conducts. Luke Fortner, the left guard for Kentucky. Jalen Scott, linebacker for NC State.
I think Jalen's frustrated. You see Mark Stoops continuing to engage with the officials as he normally does. But again, Jalen Scott has struggled. He's frustrated today. Now you're going to have to explain to me why Fortner was called for a penalty there.
The clock is fine.
Okay.
All right. That should not have been a penalty on Fortner, not off of what we just saw.
It looked like he just took Scott to the ground.
During the course of the play.
During the course of the play, Scott gave him a little kick.
Little mule kick.
1st and 10 from the 30. NC State was looking for something there. Instead, it's Rose. He's had a big game. Still going. Stiff arm. Out of bounds inside the 5. 27 more yards for A.J. Rose. 11 carries, 147 on the ground.
Again, catching NC State off guard a little bit. NC State thought Kentucky was moving with another procedure penalty, and they're not ready to start the play. But what's the reoccurring theme, Anish? These backs break tackles. They fall forward. They have great contact balance. And it's all of them. It's the whole group. Just think about Kentucky. To play the way that they have played all year long in the passing game, all right, and to even be functional and competitive, it's a testament to their defensive personnel and obviously their run game.
Quentin Wilson comes in at center. Drake Jackson's
Kentucky
helmet came off.
Calls their second timeout of the half, 30-second timeout.
And we get a timeout, so that allows Jackson to come back into the game. The last two bowl games, and they're on ESPN and the app later today. Oregon, Iowa State in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. All those guys get a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Those are not easy to come by in this day and age. And then Texas A&M and North Carolina, 8 p.m. in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Get to see Sam Howell and UNC. A&M, I wonder what the Aggie fan feels like today after watching the semifinals yesterday.
Well, just get on the internet. They'll tell you.
.704 to go. Mark Stoops directing traffic. Jackson back in there at center after the timeout. Rodriguez, the running back. And this is what they like to do down here. Little wildcat look. And Rodriguez stopped after a short gain. Rodriguez, the only touchdown for Kentucky today. This is very much the game we expected. Physical, low-scoring, defensive,
or an injured player.
Oriented type of approach.
And that's exactly what we've gotten. Now, we've gotten some sloppiness, too, as the game has progressed. And you're going to see Kennard. He's going to have to go to the sideline. His players are yelling for Jeremy Flack, 77, the freshman, out of Detroit, Michigan, for him to come in the game. So that you got 5 full linemen up there. Again, situational football plus territory. If you remember in the first half, Kentucky struggled with this through a touchdown called back on a penalty. Got to come away with a knockout punch here and get 6.
Wilson will throw. End zone. Incomplete. Wanted Oliver.
And that's really the exact same throw that Terry Wilson had made for the touchdown call back in the first half. Maybe a little bit more air, just so you give Oliver an opportunity to truly adjust it and maybe elevate and extend above his head. You know, what I'd like to see Kentucky do here is get back into that wildcat formation where Terry Wilson motions out of the backfield, and then maybe you do the pop pass. Even if it's the direct snap to the running back, get a little pop pass going.
Oliver only 1 catch on the season entering play. They've looked to him a lot here in this second half. Rodriguez met by Moore, stretches forward, got back to the line. 4th and goal, and if you're Kentucky, do you kick the field goal to go up 2 scores?
I would right now, the way NC State's playing on offense. They can't function in the passing game. They've turned the ball over. Field position has not been their friend. If you're Kentucky, take the points, play great defense, which you have all day long, and get to the sideline. Clock's dwindling. I think this is a smart call by Mark Stoops. He doesn't like it, but it's the judicious call.
Ruffalo 2 for 2. And drills it from 20. Little chip shot. Kentucky up by 2 scores, less than 6 minutes to go in regulation. (16-7) Kentucky. 5:45 to go in the 4th. Our first star-studded NBA Wednesday doubleheader of the year on ESPN and the app. Jason Tatum and the Celtics will take on reigning Eastern Conference champion Miami at 7:30. And then Kawhi, Paul George, and the Clippers, some unfinished business after last year's exit, will take on Steph and the Warriors. Poor to send it away with Zonovan Bam Knight back deep. And Knight won't get a chance. They have not been kicking to him. It's Houston instead to the 33. Down to Larisha Harris. Oh, hang on.
Well,
hang
NC
on.
State center.
Now The chippiness continues. A flag down. We'll get to LaRisha after the penalty.
Now they just threw an extra flag on top of the original flags for what looks to be a mouthy UK defender or cover team's player.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, Kentucky, number 6, for a non-football act. That's his first. Also, unsportsmanlike conduct, Kentucky, number 25, for taunting. That's his first. Both penalties will be enforced from the dead ball spot. First down.
Jared Casey and Andrew Phillips.
And Mark Stoops is beside himself. You see number 6, who they called right there on the sideline. Right there, that shove. Now, as all of this is happening along the sideline, keep a close eye to the right side of the frame. With number 25, you're going to see him right there on the right. He's jawing with a member on the sideline, and now the head referee is going to throw him one. My goodness. And this is why Mark Stoops, who prides himself in having a disciplined football team, a smart football team, is livid right now, and I don't blame him.
Hockman's thrown 2 picks into coverage. Thayer Thomas, and he brings it inside the 20-yard line. A red zone opportunity now for NC State, and those 2 penalties aided this drive, but surprise, surprise, Tom Luganbill.
Yep, here we go. And you're right, the previous 2 penalties, with the clock not working in NC State's favor, have given them a tremendous opportunity they would not have had otherwise.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 95, for a low hit on the quarterback. Enforced half the distance to the goal. First down.
That is Quinton Bohanna.
Ooh. That's a dangerous penalty on behalf of Bohanna. Good to see Hockman pop right up, and a tremendous catch by Thayer Thomas.
First and goal after the penalty. Hockman chased by Bohanna, rather Hoskins, who gets the sack, and Hockman is saying it was a face mask.
I did see his head get jerked down. The question is, was it at the rim of the collar? Well, that's a face mask.
That is a
He's
clear
100%
face
correct.
mask. Now, Hockman's got every right to be upset.
I'm not so sure how the line judge missed it, number 1, and then certainly the umpire.
Second and goal. Bam Knight. Inside the 5. Touchdown, NC State. Six consecutive games with a rushing touchdown for Knight.
Really well executed at the point of attack. Best executed run game play on the wide zone stretch for NC State all day long.
We showed you the graphic earlier in the quarter. These fourth quarter comebacks, nothing new for NC State.
Certainly not.
PAT is good by Dunn. You get the sense whoever can be disciplined down the stretch will win this game.
No question. In Kentucky, you're up next.
A 2-point game here in the final 5 minutes of the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Kentucky seeking a 3rd straight bowl win. North Carolina State looking to make it 3 9-win seasons in 4 years. Fans, check out the ESPN app for the Capital One postgame immediately following this game. and Ashraf, Tom Luganbill, Larisha Harris with you. Happy New Year. This game's been chippy. It's gotten ugly at times, especially in the second half. We've had a ton of unsportsmanlike penalties, a lot of dead ball fouls. I said it before we went to break. Who could be disciplined here in these last 4 minutes and 46 seconds?
Absolutely. Who's not going to make the mental error? Not the physical penalty, the mental penalty.
Larisha.
Well, guys, as you were saying, a lot of the coaches over here are expressing their frustration with those penalties. And I saw a lot of the coaches telling their guys, those penalties are on us. We have to stop putting them in better situations. But what we need to do is accept what we've done already and now just focus on finishing this game.
The last NC State scoring drive was aided by Kentucky penalties. A late hit, unsportsmanlike.
Right.
NC State had a drive earlier in this game. They're in striking distance. Got a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike that drove them away from a scoring opportunity.
Yeah, and you already see a pretty heavily penalized program all year long, but today, wow.
A.J. Rose, he's been the offensive star for Kentucky, not much. We were talking about this during the break. If you're NC State now,
sell out, load the box. Just listen, Kentucky is not going to be a team that, number one, is going to attempt many shots downfield. They haven't been able to create explosives and certainly haven't been able to connect on any. If I'm NC State and Tony Gibson, and he loves to bring people near the line of scrimmage, put the game and the series on Terry Wilson's shoulders.
The senior quarterback out of Oklahoma City, sending Rigg in motion. Wilson will throw. Floats it too far for Rigg. And it's 3rd and 9. Had Rigg open in the flat.
You have to make that throw. And again, now you're 3rd and 9. You're not successful on your first 2 downs of the series, which just kills you when you're not able to compete in the passing game.
You got the sense, too, on that last NC State drive. There was juice on the sidelines for the Wolfpack.
Very much
You
so.
saw the energy, the emotion. A 3-man rush, dropping 8. Wilson steps up. And the senior is down at the 30-yard line, shy of the marker. Kentucky will have to punt, and NC State's going to have a chance.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is essentially the entire season for Kentucky on offense. When you had to have some balance, you had to have some competence to complement your run game, you just can't come up with it.
Duffy will punt. Gets it off. Thayer Thomas from the 20. Out of bounds. Not much on the return. Larisha.
The center for NC State, Grant Gibson, he went down in the 3rd. Now he's back on the sideline with his teammates, and I was told by personnel for the Wolfpack that it's early indication of ligament damage. But he's on the sideline again with his teammates, encouraging those guys, and he's also emphasizing the fact that they need to finish. He said they're still in this game, but let's do it. Let's finish.
That offensive line's a 6-man rotation. You see Witt, 67 on the sideline. He left the game with an injury. Gibson has played every snap until getting hurt. He's out. Joe Sculthorpe, the left guard, an all-conference player, slides over to center. Derek Eason has checked into the game as part of that O-line unit. Bailey Hockman. Tipped and intercepted! Jamin Davis! The Kentucky defense steps up again. 3rd pick of the game.
Well, Anish, just when you thought that man right there, Bailey Hockman, was going to have an opportunity to redeem himself here in the 4th quarter, completely telegraphs this throw. Credit Kentucky defensively all over it, eyes towards the quarterback. And then Davis, who's really had a nice day. DeAndre square there, creating the tipped ball, number 5. Weak side linebacker for Kentucky, but Davis capping off what has been a very productive day by him, both run and pass defensively, with the takeaway.
Kentucky now with 16 interceptions when you add in the 3 today. Tops in the SEC. They had 6 in the win against Mississippi State, 3 against Tennessee, as we get another flag and more chirping.
Prior to the snap, Kentucky calls their third and final timeout of the half, 30-second timeout.
You see Vince Marrow and Coach Stoops, high school teammates. In fact, Tim Beck, who calls the plays for NC State, went to high school with Marrow and Stoops, part of that Youngstown connection. Cardinal Mooney. Marrow joking with us that he and Beck, when they played basketball together, he said Beck had one job. That was to throw me the ball.
Got a dish.
And then Beck said, yeah, I would do that and I'd never see the ball again. And this was before the game, all 3 of them. That Youngstown connection, and it goes deep on the Kentucky staff beyond just Coach Marrow and Coach Stoops. Having a moment pregame, and Vince Marrow with the offensive coordinator change after the South Carolina game. The play caller today, normally the tight ends coach. Liam Cohen will be the new OC next season. Rodriguez, he can take this to El Dorado.
Well, dance with who brung you, Anish. Run, run, and run it some more. And the same issue that plagued NC State throughout most of the second quarter was their inability to stop the run. Kentucky finding some success on the left side of that offensive line, and the linebackers for NC State just not in position to make plays and maintain gap integrity.
A touchdown for Rodriguez, safe at second base as well.
Yes.
And the point after by Ruffalo is good. And this Kentucky defense answered the call multiple times today. 3 interceptions. And you said it, the run game, 284 yards, and we said it at the top of the broadcast. That offensive line has been playing inspired football the last 2 months of the season. They're playing for John Schlarman, their O-line coach, who lost a 2-year battle with cancer in November. They called him the Great American. He helped build this program with Coach Stoops. The big blue wall, his lasting legacy. They've cleared some space. Rodriguez, 84 yards. Rose, close to 150. And I go back to really the seminal moment for Kentucky with this group, the Florida win a couple of years ago.
Sure.
Who got the game ball? John Schlarman.
John Schlarman. Yep.
They ran for 300 yards in Gainesville that day, and we've seen the running game come through at the right time today.
We've seen the running game come through all year long because it's had to. And it's also a reflection of how good Kentucky's been on defense when you consider how often they were on the field this year.
Houston on the sky kick. Matt in the studio. If Matt Barry didn't get out of that quick enough, he was about to get flagged for unsportsmanlike.
Without question. We got penalties aplenty here on this broadcast, so we'll be more than happy to throw on Matt's way.
Hockman over the middle. He's got Houston. And a first down close to midfield. You start to look forward for NC State next year with a healthy Devin Leary and what they have coming back. Oh, they got a chance to be really good.
Yeah, they do. Obviously, the lack of discipline, the penalties, the sloppiness today is really not a true indication of where they are as a football program. And you could say the same thing for Kentucky, Anish. As they're trying to mount a comeback here, Kentucky's playing it safe. They're going to let them have the underneath stuff. But Kentucky, if they find an improvement and an upgrade at quarterback, with the way their team's built inside out, up front on both sides of the ball, their ability to run the ball, they are a contender.
Down the middle, nearly intercepted again, but it is caught by Mezzi.
What a spectacular play by Emezi as we see some hurry up and some life in the NC State offense. Still plenty of time, 2 timeouts.
I know Bailey Hockman as we get a flag or a whistle. Another injured player. Looks like Valentine for Kentucky. Today's Capital One player of the game, A.J. Rose, 12 carries, almost 150 yards, including a couple of huge plays like this one.
Well, they're huge plays. Again, going back to the offensive line, the strength and core foundation of this Kentucky, not only football team, but entire program inside and out. There's Rodriguez. That's just the run game, but he obviously contributed as well. But the 2 big plays and possibly the play that locks it down belong to that man right there, A.J. Rose.
Somewhere John Schlarman, somewhere high above, smiling. Schlarman was a 4-year starter at guard at Kentucky. His number 65 worn today by the Kentucky center, Drake Jackson. And certainly in our thoughts, especially around this time, his wife, Leanne, sons, Joseph, Matthew, and Benjamin, daughter, Evelyn. That is someone, the more you talk to the folks around Kentucky, I don't even think we can do it justice to let people know what he means to that program, what he will mean forever to that program, and what he's helped build in Lexington.
Well, and then what he's left behind in terms of perseverance. You know, we came on air today talking about, through all of this, through a pandemic, through schedule shifts and changes, having some perspective. It can be easy to complain, right? It can be easy to, you know, boo-hoo that things haven't gone your way. And as I mentioned earlier, you look over to the sideline and your coach can barely walk from drill to drill. What does that tell you about what type of man he is?
Hockman, ball is tipped. Ruled incomplete. There were the stories that he would be offered a chair or a golf cart and would refuse it sometimes, even though the chemotherapy gave him terrible blisters.
Again, you hear the stories from the coaching staff of just what it took for him to get through the day. Just the day. Forget going onto the field and having to work through 24 periods of a practice.
There's a great story on Schlarman by Kyle Tucker on The Athletic. Our own Gene Wojciechowski did a tremendous piece that is incredibly moving, and you get the sense of what he meant to not just the O-line, but as we said, the foundation of this program. And there is a strong foundation in Lexington. It took some time to build for Mark Stoops, but you see what they have in the trenches. You see the toughness, the physicality. Kentucky's no longer a punchline in the SEC East. They have built something special, and there is an infrastructure there now. We've both been to Kentucky.
Yes.
There is an infrastructure there where they have a chance to be really good and really special. The ceiling for this football program is incredibly high.
Well, it's incredibly high, and I think you look to the administration when Mark Stoops took the job. Hey, we need some things here. You really want to be competitive in football? Then we need to have some upgrades, some advances, and they've done that. They've done that in stadium enhancements. Their football operations center is as good as you're going to find in all of college football. Got a great city, and so the university has invested in Kentucky football. You could say the same thing for NC State and the advancements they've made within their program, and they've sustained success for a while now under Dave Doran.
On 2nd and 20, Hockman completes. That's a future star, Porter Rooks, the freshman from Charlotte.
Again, a lot of returning components for both of these ball clubs as Bailey Hockman tries to keep his team in this thing.
1st and goal, Hockman. Able to complete inside of the 5-yard line, Devin Carter.
Still 2 timeouts.
Houston charges in for 6. extra point and then an onside kick.
This is just a great physical individual effort there by Jordan Houston, the young sophomore. He's undersized in comparison to Bam Knight and Ricky Pearson. Kind of brings a different element. Going for one here.
23-21, and the thing to remember, the ball has to travel at least 10 yards on an onside kick.
Correct.
And also important, the kicking team cannot block the receiving team within those 10 yards.
Right.
NC State has played this movie throughout the season. Went down to the wire against Wake, Pitt, Miami, Liberty, Syracuse. Finished the season with 4 straight wins.
Yep.
Longest active win streak, by the way, in the ACC. A nice note from our friend Wes Durham this morning.
Yes. And listen, the one thing, too, as you came into the season, if you're NC State, Dave Doran was 11-17 on the road in NC State. They won some big road games. Kind of got over that hurdle a little bit and win close games, too.
NC State 0 for 2 on the onside kicks this season.
Middle of the field's exposed.
It goes 10 yards. It's fielded by Kentucky. And the Wildcats just need a couple of kneel downs, but not before a little more ugliness.
I think the officials have run out of flags to throw.
I'm really hoping that the end of this game can be civil.
Absolutely.
What we saw in the Armed Forces Bowl between Mississippi State and Tulsa, that was a black eye for college football. And I think right now, if you're the coaches on both sidelines, you have to be telling your team, okay, let's bring it back.
Yep.
Let's not make this any worse than it's been in the second half.
Yeah, huddle your group up. Mark Stoops not happy again with the officials. It's interesting. The flags were very easy to fly throughout the course of this game, but not on that particular play.
Terry touchdown
NC
with a
State
kneel down.
calls their final timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
NC State burns its final timeout. This Kentucky senior class, 19 of them, led the Wildcats to 10 wins and a winning SEC record 2 years ago, something that hadn't been done since 1977. Snapped a 31-game losing streak by winning at Florida. Beat Tennessee on the road earlier this year. That hadn't happened since 1984. This would be the 6th win against a ranked team. A 3rd straight bowl win.
Yeah.
They've got a lot to be proud about.
There's no question. The future's bright. And again, I go back to the administration, their patience, understanding that there was no quick fix and that you're trying to build a program, sustain a program, and you're going to need help along the way. We talked about the facilities upgrades, the stadium enhancements, the commitment that Kentucky is not just a basketball school, and they've got things rolling now. They've recruited, they've built depth, and he's done it from the inside out. And that's how you win or are competitive in the SEC.
One more kneel down. A well-deserved Gatorade bath for Mark Stoops. 3 straight bowl wins. This season for Kentucky was defined by loss and adversity and unimaginable emotions. And you hope these final moments can bring a smile to that team, that locker room, and that fan base.
There's no question. And also glad to see some civility here, which it's great to see these two teams act with class at the end of the game.
Kentucky with its 3rd straight bowl win. The Capital One postgame is on the app. Welcome to the ESPN app post-game presented by Capital One.
Whoa, Susan.
Oh, I'm looking for coupon codes.
Well, Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them. It's called shopping smart, not hard.
But I don't have a Capital One card.
You should get one, but you don't need it for this. Just download Capital One Shopping to your computer. It's free.
Ooh, save me some cheddar.
So, when's the party? I love fondue.
Really?
I never joke about hot cheese, Susan.
Me neither.
Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Let's take a look at today's Capital One rewarding performance. It was the Kentucky run game. 281 yards on the ground, 148 by A.J. Rose, the senior out of Cleveland, the Eagle Scout. Chris Rodriguez, a couple of touchdowns, including the dagger, 84 on the ground. And these two running behind the big blue wall, the offensive line.
Well, the game really for Kentucky played out exactly the way it needed to. They had to be successful running the football. If they weren't, they did not have a chance to win this game.
And Shroff, Tom Luganbill, Larisha Harris with you. Kentucky, 3 straight bowl wins, winning the Gator Bowl for the first time. This was just their second time here. NC State finishes the season a very respectable 8-4, despite a critical injury midseason to their starting quarterback.
Yeah, the core foundation for both of these teams, in many regards, returns for next year. Bright moments for both teams are going to lead into a quality offseason. Hopefully we'll have a true offseason so these teams can continue to develop and blossom.
Down to Larisha.
Rose, how are you feeling right now? Describe your emotions.
Can't even describe it. I'm just filled with joy. We've been here. I've been here before, and unfortunately we didn't win that game. But the outcome was great this year, and what better way to end than with an MVP and with a dub.
What did this moment mean to you as well as others in this senior class?
We ain't had a season we wanted. It was a tough season due to COVID issues and all that. We just really wanted to end on a win. With the seniors, with this group, through the circumstances that we played through. I'm just glad we could do that.
Thank you so much, Rose.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
What a game for A.J. Rose. And you talk about a young man who had his own moment that he had to learn from earlier this year in the Ole Miss game when he celebrated too early, was caught from behind for a touchdown, and then a couple of plays later fumbled. He's come through that fire. He finished the season with back-to-back 100-yard games.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the other thing that's impressive to me. He just mentioned about, closing out the season, doing it for the seniors. They didn't have guys with overvalued opinions of themselves opt out to prepare for the NFL draft when you're going to be a 6th-round draft choice. They had guys that cared about the team more than anything else, chose to come back. They saw the finish line, and now they're deserving of a win today.
A team with every reason not to be here.
Absolutely.
We spelled it out during the broadcast, but they wanted to be here. And as you said, they wanted to see it through. They finished the season with a bowl win against NC State. Larisha.
Coach, you told us that this year has been brutally hard for you all. How would you describe this win?
Well, anytime you take the field, you're competing to win, and I greatly appreciate our players. And just the way we finished the season. It was tough. It was a hard-fought victory. And, so it was a tough game, but really appreciate our guys.
You talked about the resilience of your seniors. How would you describe their emotions?
Well, they meant a great deal to our program. We just won, 3 straight with the senior leadership. And, again, they all wanted to be here. They all participated, gave it everything they have in this game. And I love them and I appreciate them.
And this win for you all, you told us that you were doing this for your offensive lineman coach as well as one of your players, Coach Schlarman, and your player, Coach Oates. How would you describe this win for them? Did you all do it for them?
Well, that was one of the last things I said as I left the hotel. We talked about a lot of things, but I left it with our guys that weren't with us, and that's Chris Oates. And Chris is a fantastic young man, a great player. We love you, Chris. And for Leanne Schlarman, and this is an honor to the Schlarman family. We love John. We miss him greatly. We certainly miss his presence, so we're glad to get this victory in our own.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larisha. Chris Oates, a junior linebacker, diagnosed with an undisclosed but serious medical condition back in May.
Yep.
His number 22 has been rotated and given to a different player. You see it there. all season long. And then we mentioned many times John Schlarman, the late offensive line coach, who's meant so much to building this program, getting it to this point. Kentucky has built up a strong foundation. Now it's the next step, and to take the next step for that program.
They've been through a lot, no doubt, Anish.
A reason to smile today, though, for Big Blue Nation. 23-21, Kentucky over NC State in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. That concludes our Capital One postgame. For Tom Luganbill and Larisha Harris, I'm Anish Shroff. Thank you for watching.